Pretty hungover?
I can't remember. It was like...
If you need a water, you can grab one of those bottles.
I think it was one of those random A+. You know, they have like a shit ton of them. Those A+ bars. Where like... I don't know what it is with Chinese bars, but like... They just blast music. Yeah, but you all are sitting down, so there's nowhere really to dance. And
everyone's Chinese just sitting at their table, minding their own business.
Yeah, and like...
No one talks to anyone else.
Yeah, you can't like go up to a girl... Pick up a girl at a bar here because they're like surrounded by either their friends or like just a bunch of guys. Mm-hmm. You think they're hitting on them, but they're not talking, so you don't know what the fuck's going on.
They're friends.
Yeah, friends. Yeah,
it's ultra friend zone.
Yeah,
but it is actually really easy to pick up here. What you got to do is you got to go talk to the guy. All right, because of the way that Chinese face works is so like next time you're at a bar like that, buy a beer and then go cheers tables with women at them and cheers the men. And the men will cheers you back and you drink and then you walk away, like politely. And most of the time, at least one of them, you know, if you do this to like a dozen people, somebody will come and grab you and tell you to come to their table and drink with them. And now you're their guest. And they gain face by buying you alcohol. And now you're at their table and you can take all the women, drink all the alcohol, and go to a different table.
God, it's warfare shit.
Yeah.
Brutal. Oh my god.
Brutal. It's modern day longboats and axes.
Yeah. Oh, I never even thought of that. I remember once when I first got here, I went to one of those bars and I like, you know, typical sent the girl a drink, like, hey, and they just like laughed and like didn't even touch the drink. And I'm like, I was this close to being just cheap. Like, can you just send me the drink?
Actually, I want that.
Like, what the fuck, you know? Like, but whatever. But yeah, like, you know, we were hanging out with some Chinese guys too, and it's culture, I guess, to buy a shit ton of beer and open all the bottles and wait till it's lukewarm.
100%.
You know, like, like they did that, and I always tell them, I don't want to give out their names, but I tell them all the time I hang out, like, don't do that, and they do it.
That's all about face as well.
Yeah, it's
you know, they want to have 100 beers on the table to try to show people at the bar, like, look at how much we bought.
Like, look, you're hanging out with a bunch of foreigners. Is that enough? You know, it's like, no, look at all this.
It's never enough.
Oh yeah, it's never enough.
It's a caveat. It's a nice little cherry on top.
And of course, you're a bitch if you don't drink when they tell you to drink, you know. And I'm just like, fuck you. And then it's just this odd battle where like you can tell other tables are watching of you yelling at the Chinese guy like, go fuck yourself, you know. Lao Tzu Gwen, and they're just laughing like, ho 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 ho.
If they're paying for it, I never mind when they like get really aggressive about drinking, except when it's baijiu.
Oh my god! You mean Chinese moonshine?
But so much worse. I actually love moonshine. I've drank a lot of moonshine in my time. It's good.
Cause so I've drank a lot of moonshine too. It's just like moonshiners, especially ones who just do it as a hobby, they try to flavor it. Mm-hmm. Baijiu's just baijiu. They don't do shit to it. Mm-hmm. They're just like, oh, I want to get fucked up, and that's it.
It's like it's designed to taste awful.
Yeah,
it's not even especially strong. It's like 40%. It's the same as like normal liquor.
Yeah,
it's just horrific tasting, and it does awful things to your stomach.
Yeah,
I had an old man. My third day in China, I went to a wedding. A friend of a friend of a friend was getting married, and so I was like the lawai at the wedding with this other guy, and they put us at this table with all these old men who were pounding baijiu.
Sweet Jesus!
And at one point, one of the old men, he could speak a little bit of English. And I asked him, I was like, do you actually like this? It tastes terrible. And he was like, no, of course I don't like it. He's like, nobody likes it. He's like, and in his words, he said, it's a man test because it tastes so bad. The man test is, can you drink it and not puke everywhere by the taste? Can you stomach the horrific taste?
You ever, I forgot what country it was, but you ever been to the Coke museum building in Atlanta, Georgia?
No.
So they have Coke from all over the world there.
Cocaine.
I forgot what country it was, but it was like one of the stands. You know, there's like a shit ton of countries stand at the end of it. There's one of those countries, and the Coke tastes awful. But the thing is, it became a test. Like, the whole reason you go to the Coke Museum isn't to see the history of Coke, because the Coke from all over the world is at the end. it's like, you see all this shit, like, oh, we used to serve it with sandwiches, like all this weird history shit of Coca-Cola. But the real thing is, like, the reason why your friends and stuff are like, drank this weird Coke, and they drink it like, bleh, like, and they just laugh. It's weird that, like,
do they tell you why it tastes so bad? What's in it?
You know what's funny? I didn't ask, and I don't think none of them know. It's just one of those things, like, it's just horrible. You just assume these people are weird. But it becomes like a test, I guess, of manliness. But not even manly. It's just like, all over the world we have this shit. Like, we just have to torture each other. Yeah.
It's probably just some horrible plant that grows in that area.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, let's put that in our Coke.
Yeah. You know, like in Japan, they eat everything raw. Like, every country has, like, their own thing. Yeah. But it's weird.
Last time I went to Japan, I actually started eating raw eggs, and they're actually pretty damn good.
Wow.
They'd crack a raw egg over. I went to this breakfast place every day. It was across the street from the apartment I was staying at. And, I would get like this pork and rice and vegetable dish, and they crack a raw egg over it, and you mix that in.
I've seen that.
It's so good.
Never had it.
It's incredible.
I mean, maybe.
Also, mix kimchi with miso soup. Fucking great.
Really?
Yeah. All the Japanese people looked at me like I was insane when I was doing that, and my Japanese friend that I went there to visit refused to try it. I was like, just try a little bit. She was like, "No, that's horrible. I can't even imagine that."
I'll try that sometime then. No, that's okay. Kimchi and miso soup.
Yeah, it goes really well together.
I usually either really like sushi, like love Japanese food, or like fucking don't even buy that shit for me, kind of.
I'm not a big fish guy, and also sushi's a really good food for lazy people because it's really easy to make. It's shockingly easy to make.
I hear that, but isn't there some skill to it?
Well, like, if you want to make good sushi, like, if you're selling it. But, like, if you're just, like, a stoned asshole playing video games, all it is rice.
I'm gonna eat this raw
rice and some, like, fucking avocado and green peppers. Just roll that shit up and you fucking eat it like a rice burrito.
I've had rice burrito, yeah. It's just uncut sushi.
There's just nothing to it.
Yeah,
so I did that for a long time, and now I don't like sushi anymore.
I like sushi, but I really like, I guess the difference is called sashimi.
Sashimi. Yeah, like really thin sliced.
Yeah, and it's just on top. I love that. I love that more than the sushi rolls. I just go to those sushi restaurants where there's just a conveyor belt. Yeah. You know?
And you just put your hand on it, and as it comes by, it hits your hand and falls onto the plate.
Yeah, and you realize you have like this many plates. You're like, fuck, but it was worth it. But yeah, no, fuck. Yes, but yeah, sorry for coming late.
Don't worry about it.
There's this homeless guy I always give money to.
And then you take it away and laugh at him? You just want to see the sparkle in his eye. And you kick him.
I give him water in the summer. And
but it's like
he
boiling
wasn't there. No, I give him like not cold water, but
because that would be insulting in China.
Right? Yeah, cold water.
He's like, "You trying to kill me?
What the fuck?"
Yeah, it's 110 degrees.
Throws up. Like, give me boiling water. I remember when I first came here. I came here in the summer and I saw that shit, and I thought at first this old lady that was doing was just crazy. Yeah. I saw like the water was like still kind of like
steaming.
Yeah, like steaming. Yeah. You know, and it was like what the
scalding
fuck?
Water.
What the fuck? And then I realized it's just a thing here. And I was like, fuck, man. Because they gave it to me. I was like, you know, I didn't know any Chinese when I first came here. I'm like, what the fuck, you know? Like,
dude, cold water is so unusual. A few days ago, it was 96 degrees. And I went to my girlfriend's home to make jiaozi, to make dumplings with her and her mom. And her mom knows that I'm a foreigner. I like cold water. So she boiled water and then filled a big bowl with boiling water and then put that in the fridge a couple hours before I got there. So that there would be cold water. That's like the length she had to go to for cold water to exist in her apartment.
They just love... And I'm like, you know, I teach kids, and like, when the kids want water, to drink, you know, and they all have their shui bean, you know, the little water bottle they all have. They go out, and we just feed them this scalding hot water from the thing, and they just drink it like it's... I'm like, what
it's nothing. Like, it doesn't burn them.
Like, do they, like... Well, it's
they definitely have a high burn tolerance.
Like, well, because also they eat shit with bones in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, something must be up with their mouth. Do they have, like, a little man inside their fucking mouth or some shit? Because I see them. I've gone on dates where a girl would just put a whole fish in her mouth like a cartoon and just pull out the bones.
Yeah, or she puts, like, a chicken wing in her mouth and just crunches the bones down.
Yeah.
And that,
you know what's funny? When I was a kid, I used to eat bones. It's like I remember my, like,
Velociraptor shit. That's all I can think of. I can think of, like, a dinosaur eating a cow or something like that.
Yeah, I just eat it.
Or, like, an alligator or something.
Fuck.
It's aggressive.
Something's up with their mouth, man.
It's not attractive. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean...
I remember one of my
most distinct... that's what you're into.
That's a tough fetish. One of my most distinct memories is when I first got here, I was taking a slow train. Have you taken a slow train yet? Hard seat?
No.
It's basically just a wooden bench, and it's shockingly slow. Like, if the door was open, you could step off the train, like, walk next to it, and then get back on. It's that slow.
Holy shit.
And I forget where we were going. I think it was like Kunming to Dali, and it was like 7 hours. And you're just on like a wooden bench, and you're like packed in like sardines. And there's so many people. There's people like standing in the aisle because they also sell standing seats, standing tickets.
I did get that once, but it was like a speed train.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not so bad. If you're just there for a couple hours.
Yeah.
But sitting across from me and to the left, like one seat over, was a really attractive Chinese girl. But then, like, 5 minutes into the ride, she pulls out a giant plastic bag of chicken feet and a metal bowl.
Just spitting it like gunfire, man.
It was just crunching bones and breaking ligaments and just... So, haunts my nightmares. It does.
But then, oddly, I think that's how those fetishes start. Next thing you start imagining yourself as the chicken foot. She's eating you.
Chew on my fingers.
Yeah.
Dude, chicken feet. I don't understand it. It's just like bones and talons and ligaments.
I couldn't do it, but I'm from the South and we eat some weird shit. So I can kind of I've seen people eat pig feet.
Yeah, but there's a lot of meat on pig feet, I've heard.
Yeah, but still, it's like the older I got, the more I just realized pig is just a weird animal.
Yeah, it is.
It's just so strange. And you know...
Supposedly it tastes like human.
Supposedly, I guess, yeah.
Long pig.
But it's like one of the few domestic animals we have you can just throw right into the wild and just become feral. And
their hair gets longer, their tusks get longer.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, all right, I forgot. And then they transform like Goku or some shit. So.
This isn't even my final form.
And yeah, next thing you know, you're just like, oh, babe, is that you? And it's like,
and gores you to death.
Yeah, like, I've been boar hunting. It's I don't think people realize how terrifying pigs can be.
Do you do it with a spear?
No.
Why not?
I want to go full, no.
Yeah. The hatchet and paint your face and blend in with the trait.
No, this is a straight, I remember this the last time, and the only time, sorry, not only time, but this was like this third time I went boar hunting. This is the last time I'll ever go boar hunting. I'll never go boar hunting again, but I went with a boss of mine, and he brought his dad. He was an ex-Vietnam veteran, right? And when we went hunting, I didn't hunt for a long time when this happened, and I wasn't really mentally prepared. As it was, you ever done signed up for something, and as you're going towards a roller coaster, you realize what you're doing. You're like, oh fuck, it was one of those things. And I had a gun, and I honestly, I was just gonna let them have all the action. I was just gonna be there, just have the gun in case some shit goes down. I gotta shoot something. But it was more I'm just gonna hang out with my boss and his brother and his dad. But anyway, the dad vanished. We were in the woods looking for the pigs, and the dad vanished. I was like, what the fuck? Where'd he go? He's out scouting or some shit.
He came on with the bush.
Yeah, it was weird, but that's what happened. And then, for a quick second, as it was happening, I was so worried about him because he was this, he was a bit shorter. He was stocky. He wasn't this, old, feeble man. He was a stocky dude. But, I was just worried about him. I was like, man, what happened to him? Next thing you know, you ever seen boar hunting or no? Or boar hunting?
I've seen a little bit, yeah. I've seen some YouTube videos.
Yeah, they love tall grass, right? and technically, like, their eyes, they're like up here. Like, you can't see most of their body when they're in like fight or flight mode, right? Just like their eyes are popping out like a submarine telescope shit.
Okay.
And then when they got you, they beeline for you and they squeal. It's like just they go straight for you. So you only have, if that's going down, which is probably maybe a bad huntsman, like maybe you get him before that happens, I'm sure. But we weren't professionals. I haven't hunted in a while, you know. But point is,
only you made it out.
Point is, we saw the pig and it was about to do that. Yeah. And I'm freaking out, but they're ready.
You're already sending resumes out to new jobs. You're pushing your boss forward as you're stepping back. Yeah.
But right before the pig like kind of realized and its animal instincts are about to kick in, out of fucking nowhere, it almost seemed like he flew out of the tree. The dad came in and just hacked this pig. I shit you not like stabbing and shit. Like he just knew how to kill something. You know what I mean? Mm. And just stabbed it right and just went. I've never seen anything like that before. I haven't seen anything like it since. Yeah, a knife.
Like a big ass
knife. A knife. Like no like sniper shot like, you know, Call of Duty. He's like, we got him, boys. And then like helicopter off. You know? It was like he just stabbed him. And
it's Rambo shit.
And it was like
he's not wearing his clothes anymore
for a second.
Reason. He's like covered in blood. Like, what happened to you?
For a second, I realized what war was. Like, you know, it's just like I was like, that's what people fight against.
How old was he? Was he like some non-vet or something?
Yeah, he was a Vietnam vet. Yeah, okay. He was a non-vet. Yeah, no, he went full flashback mode. Yeah, and he knows Vietnamese. You know,
he's going on about Charlie.
Like no, because my boss would tell me stories about just him and his dad, and like I remember once he was telling me like his dad for punishment. Back when they were really young, he would put him in a dog cage and just yell at him in Vietnamese. I'm like, that's fucked up, man. He's like, yeah, but my boss is pretty fucked. Well, he's not my boss anymore. He's a good friend of mine now, but yeah, he's a fucked up guy. But I love him. But yeah, his dad really fucked me.
Probably not the best parenting.
I would yell some Vietnamese right now, but I don't know any.
Put him in a metal cage and electrocute it.
Yeah.
So. He was just trying to give him the non-experience.
Yeah, I guess so.
I thought that was important.
Prepare him for war.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fine. I mean, that's fatherhood, I guess. Prepare us for war.
You looking for some back support?
Yeah, I was about to like lay down. I was like, that's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, that thing cost like 150 RMB. It lasted like a solid 2 months.
Oh. Okay.
Before the hinge here in the middle snapped. Oh, shit. Yeah, pretty normal. And look at all 6 wheels of this chair,
man,
bro.
You and chairs.
I know, man. I don't know what it is. I sit hard.
I lay down the ass hard.
I mean, gravity affects us all equally, but for some reason, I'm pretty destructive just sitting here.
You never, what was it? I forgot what it's called, but it's like reverse cowgirl, but it's the guy. Girls laying down, and normally like missionary. Okay, like you're reversed.
Who's reversed?
The guy. So like missionary style, you're on top. But
so like I'm facing away from her.
Yeah.
How are we having sex?
Point is, no, because you get it in.
Or like rubbing our butts together.
It's like what was the Indian sex book?
The Kama Sutra.
Yeah, it's like Kama Sutra shit.
Okay,
like yoga shit.
In that position, are our butts together?
Well, I was about to say, like, you ever did that and, like, and you just, like, destroyed her pelvis? She's like, ah!
No, but I got some heavy hips. I'm pretty flexible.
Okay. Yeah. You should try sometime.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. I'm always attempting murder when I have sex. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I'd love to have sex in chairs, but I don't think they can handle it. Right. Like, I need some more sturdy equipment here.
Yeah, you need
That one broke last night as I was taking my shoes off. I wasn't even sitting in it. Or actually, this morning. I literally kicked off one shoe, and as I was kicking off the other, my calf hit the chair. Just touched it like that, and it just fell into 6 pieces. All these chairs have been repaired multiple times. They've all got nails in them from my shitty repair work. They're all filled with glue and shit as well.
Right. Yeah. I was about to say you repaired them. Oh man. You should get the Game of Thrones chair.
Yeah, a bunch of swords.
Just steel.
Yeah, just
still breaks.
Just,
like
just a steel box with a back.
Yeah. The swords fall off. Fuck.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's like your superpower.
Maybe it is. I just like very quickly degrade things that I sit on.
Your villain would be like a weird chair. What would they call a guy who makes chair? Carpenter?
Yeah, something like that.
Chair carpenter. Throws mini chairs at you. You break it with your ass.
So anyway, so you're not going boar hunting anymore. Did you eat the boar? Was it pretty delicious after it had been
I didn't eat the pig. I've had boar before. And
did the non-vet like paint your face with blood?
No, I don't think I said anything for like a good solid hour. Just it's like wow, you know, like yeah. No, I think what was his name in what was the movie with Tom Hanks? The war movie. Was it Rescuing or
wait? Tom Hanks is Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
I would be what was it? The noob, like you know, I'm not ready for war kind of shit.
Like the accountant guy.
Yeah,
or he's not an accountant. He's like I forget who. They like he's like a journalist or something.
Yeah,
right?
like
following them.
He obviously shouldn't be there.
I haven't seen that movie in so
but
long.
He's there.
Yeah,
and that was me. During the boar hunt, I was like, I shouldn't be here.
And somehow that person always survives.
Yeah. It's like horror movies. The virgin always survives.
Survives to tell the story.
Yeah. That's what happens. And he's like all fucked up and like, Grandpa, what happened? Let me tell you a story. Like Clint Eastwood shit.
I've seen some things and some stuff.
You don't know the power of the demon drink.
So did that old guy have 1,000 yard stare?
Yeah, he was one of those guys like you know, just old veterans, you know, who survived like real wars, not like some shit we have now where like, you know, like you can send a
like
drone
strikes,
yeah, and like you're like it's a video game shit, you know. I'm not saying like those guys can get fucked up, you know.
Yeah, carpal tunnel.
Yeah, like
my wrist.
Like I saw a documentary.
They get bad PTSD, right?
The drone strike. The PTSD.
In all seriousness, yeah.
Yes, all serious. But let's be honest.
Yeah,
the guys who were like in Vietnam and all that shit.
Dude,
like,
those little tunnels they had to crawl into. Where
dude, I can't even imagine World War One.
They had to send the
guys.
smallest guys into the tunnels, and you have a flashlight and a pistol and a knife, and you're like crawling. I mean, people can't see because it's a we don't have a camera, but you can imagine on your stomach, and there's not enough room to like bring your arms to your sides.
Yeah.
And you might never come back. It might not even go anywhere. Yeah. That hole.
Yeah.
You might just crawl for 300 feet, and that's it.
Dude, the Viet Cong, they were like masters of traps, man.
Yeah.
Like you would fall in a pit full of spikes and shit because they would cover it in shit.
Yes.
You know, so you get E. coli or some shit.
Dude,
it like that's.
I don't think you get E. coli from that. I think you get E. coli when you eat shit.
No, I think you get E. coli when it's like stabbed into you.
Okay, I thought.
Well, you get if shit.
I think it's just
gets
a terrible
in your bloodstream.
infection.
Yeah, if shit gets in your blood, something's happening.
Yeah, shit in your blood's not good.
Shit in blood's not good.
Shitty blood.
Yeah, shitty blood's not good.
And blood in your shit's not good either.
Blood and shit just should not meet.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a mongoose and a snake. Just don't meet. It's not nothing good will happen. But yeah, no, it's. Those guys are just fucked up because like. You know, the shit that they have to go through, it's like no human should go through.
Yeah. Because
we'll just go back to our like primal instincts. Mm-hmm. Like back to what we actually are. Just a bunch of fucking monkeys.
Yeah.
You know? Like some chimpanzee shit, like some Jane Goodall. You know, it looks nice. But next thing you know, one chimpanzee gets pissed at another. Next thing you know, they're ripping each other's faces off.
Yeah.
You know, because they eat each other.
All the time, yeah.
Chimpanzees.
They're cannibalistic.
Yeah.
And if a tribe gets too big, they'll split, and then the bigger tribe will kill the smaller tribe.
Yeah, it's crazy. But, like, that's what we result to. Like, that crazy. But now we have technology. We can be more civilized and bomb each other.
Theoretically.
From a distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, savages.
Yeah. Well, welcome everybody to another episode of Bullshit and Video Games. Here with Daniel today. How you doing, man?
Doing good.
Yeah. We're talking about the horrors of war. Yeah. I'm hoping that my generation doesn't have to fight a war. Or at least I have a massive heart attack before then. or overdose or some better way. I'm not trying to be in a trench. The trench filled with rats and dead bodies, and that's not a good way to go.
Some sad romantic comedy shit.
Yeah. I don't know how funny it is. Or romantic. Mostly just sad. Like 99% sad.
Like most romantic comedies.
Yeah. Every now and then, like a good poem will come out of a war.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It was a war.
Flanders Field.
It was a time.
Yeah.
And I'm a man or something like that. I don't know. Not my best word.
Yeah.
Well. But yeah, the war just blows my mind. I read a lot about war. Because it's just one of those things, it's like, it shouldn't, like, we know we shouldn't be doing it, but we do.
Yeah, and I think it deserves a lot of attention. It deserves educational attention.
Yeah.
So as to make the deaths not a waste, I think.
I wish we knew more about war, because we only know the victor side of things. Sometimes, like, documentaries, books will come out of, like, this is...
Well, that's changing now, I think.
Yeah,
because
now
of technology.
now we find out.
Like, did you follow the Ukrainian... I'm doing air quotes, war.
Oh, wait,
the Russian separatists.
Yeah, they coming in and shit. Yeah. And, the guy that got elected.
Yeah, I got air quotes.
Air quotes, elected.
Well, you can go on YouTube and you can watch battles from that war from both sides at the same time.
Yeah.
Where, like, soldiers on both sides have head cams, and you can watch the battle from both sides at the same time and know exactly what's going on.
Right.
It's pretty nuts.
But, like, that also, I think... is going to show how war, contrary to Metal Gear Solid, war has changed, I think. Yeah. Because,
and it shows what a clusterfuck it is. There's no organization.
Yeah, it's...
Like, there's videos where, like, the guy's standing next to a tank and he has, like, 50 men, and they're, like, looking at a town from a distance, and, like, well, what should we do? And the guy's like, you can tell on his face, he's like, I don't know. And so he's like, shoot that building there. And the tank just obliterates, like, one of the windows of that building. And, like, okay, now what do we do? He goes, shoot that building over there.
And then, like, one of them had the guy, and then next thing you know, it's like, he's a war hero. Just shooting random. But no, it's I think with the cameras and all this stuff, we get to see how brutal it is, but at the same time, I think it's going to change it to where it's going to become more theatrical. I know that sounds stupid, but, like, there are a lot of things that we do now that are theatrical that I'm sure, like, years ago we would think that's like stupid. What do you mean? Like reality television.
Oh, yeah.
For instance.
Like war it becomes reality television?
Yeah.
It kind of has. Have you seen that show where they follow around what's it called? It's like Afghanistan Patrol or some shit like that.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
and they just like drive up and down this road.
And before that show came out, there was Army Wives.
Yeah,
that's stupid. Fucking like I'm dealing with shit too as I cheat on my husband with 5 other boyfriends. Dude, fuck that. Dude, that show pissed me off. But I knew when I watched this stuff, like not necessarily follow it like wholeheartedly. But, like, we all know when we see this shit, even the clips, it's just, like, we know it's a joke, but, like, yet, people still watch and people still, like, it's like, I don't know what to call it, like, propaganda. I don't know what the fuck to call it. But I think it would slowly get to that point. Like, everything that it used to be reality, like a conversation we're having, war, war is the last pure thing we got, and it's gonna be, it's gonna be just, but... But that being said, in the islands, south of Asia here, right? Like, was it New Guinea? I think.
Yeah.
They had war for a long time, but it was like war games where tribes would constantly fight. People still died.
Yeah.
And it was like one of those things like, kill my brother last time, and I'm gonna kill your brother, like that whole shit. But it was game-like.
Yeah. And like some ancient cultures would organize something to represent their war.
Yeah,
I think they did this in like Scandinavia. I might be mistaking what country this is. This might be like Scotland or somewhere. But when you have like 2 really small communities, they can't afford to go send 2 groups to kill each other because then both communities would die. If there's only 100 people in each community and you send your 40 men and their 40 men, and now both communities die because they lost such a large percentage of their people. And so they would just nominate one person from either side, and whoever a person wins, they won. Shit. Yeah, they won the war, quote unquote.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. I mean, So, like, video games, for instance. I remember for a long time I stopped playing shooting games. Because I remember as a kid I would play it. And then, like, I forgot which. I think it was Modern Warfare. No. Yeah, Modern Warfare. One of those games came out and I played it. And it was too much like war. It felt... In the time, you gotta realize, like, going from games like... You have, like, a shit ton of guns... Like, how am I carrying all these guns?
GTA.
Yeah, like, you're just blowing shit up. It's so unrealistic. It's, it's fantasy-esque. They're basing it off of reality. But, you just run, like what was it, Golden Gun. You just run around 007 stuff, just shooting people. This golden gun can kill someone in one shot. Like, that kind of stupid shit. To go from that to this game where it's, like everything's vibrating. The only thing that it tells you is like there's a grenade in your area or some shit, Other than that, you're like getting shot. Headshots actually kill you, like that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I know I probably sound like a pussy saying this shit, but it was just like
massive pussy.
I just want to play a game.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to be in war. Like if a draft happened, I'm gonna be like, yeah, finally, fuck yeah, shit, I've been waiting. I'm not gonna be that guy. Yeah. Maybe some guys do, but I'm just saying like. I'm like, I just want to do stupid shit. But you can't do stupid shit in those games because now, with the games are only getting better, right? And everyone gets so serious. They talk as if they're in a squad. It's like, all right, you're going to take
yeah. With like Arman and stuff like that.
Wait,
and Battlefield.
Go. Like, they're like, yeah. It's
Squad
like,
2, go around back.
Yeah, you hear these guys.
Squad 1, detonate the wall.
You hear these guys online.
We need air support.
Yeah, and they're just talking shit.
Yeah.
It's like, and I'm like, this isn't real, guys.
People get into that.
This isn't real. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
War simulation.
It was like, fuck, man.
Well, I'm definitely not. I definitely don't like the idea of going to war. But I have the opposite opinion with video games, especially with war games.
Right.
I feel like war games never do a good job of making you feel like you're actually a part of an army in a war. With Call of Duty, you're always just the super soldier, and you have to do everything. I have to kill 100% of the bad guys. It doesn't matter that I'm surrounded by allies. None of them, they're all firing the guns, but none of their bullets hit anybody.
Right.
And so I would love a game like Call of Duty where it's really realistic, where you get shot and you die, but also you're only doing a tiny amount of the work. Where everything around you is still moving, even if you're just standing there doing nothing.
On an artistic perspective, I would want that. But I wouldn't play that game because
you'd have to play it for the feeling rather than the.
Because I'm like, I don't give. I like I said, I like reading about war, doing all that stuff, but I don't want to be a part of it.
Well, I like the environment of games. Like one of my favorite shooter games is Stalker. And it's not really a shooter game; it's more of an exploration game. But the environment is so insane and it's so intense and so dangerous. Like the environment is way more likely to kill you than like some bad guys, like the enemy. But every now and then you stumble along some bad guys, and because it's like hyper realistic, it's just people who play Stalker are gonna scoff at the idea when I say hyper realistic. I mean, compared to Call of Duty, it's hyper realistic, but most things are compared to Call of Duty.
I mean, I guess,
but it just adds an extra layer.
It depends on what you're into, because my thing's like I love horror games.
Okay, I can't stand that shit.
I love horror games.
My heart's not strong enough.
Fuck yeah, I love horror games. Well, the last one I played. You were in hell, and it's just one of those like hide, like you can't do shit, like just hide from the demons game. Fuck, I'm trying to fucking.
Evil Within?
No, I played Evil Within.
How's
this
that?
one thing came out before Evil Within. Evil Within's good.
Outlast.
I don't want to spoil Evil Within. I loved Outlast.
Well, you can spoil Evil Within. I'm never gonna play it. I hate horror games. I hate horror movies.
Okay, well,
real life is scary enough. I don't need to be scared in my.
I don't want to say the story
time.
For Evil Within, but I think it's.
We can give people a spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, everybody.
Well, you mentioned Outlast.
Yeah.
I really like Outlast more. I don't want to make anyone mad out there, but Outlast.
Everyone's either played it or seen it at this point. It's an old game.
What I liked about Outlast was just like the random dialogues you would hear.
Yeah.
Like there was a scene once, and it's burned in my mind. It's like the beginning of the game, and you're just wandering around the asylum, and then you realize it's like not good to be here, kind of shit. Like, of course, it's not good to be there, but it's like your character's realizing I'm fucked, that kind of shit.
It's even worse than a real asylum.
Yeah, and there's this guy who's just like raping a corpse.
Yeah,
and like as you playing, you could choose to just stand there and just watch, right? And of course I did because what are you gonna do, right?
What are you gonna not?
What am I not gonna watch a guy fuck a corpse?
Yeah.
So
you start taking off your pants.
So, and then next thing you know, the guy turns around and he goes, "What are you doing? Are you watching me?" He's like, "I'm fucked up. You're fucked up." And he's like talking to you like he's fucking with your mind. And me as the player, I'm like, I am fucked up. Like he's fucking with my mind. And like that's what I liked about you within. It was like they had these characters, they had like characters that you were fighting against, but like, just these random characters. Like it's just like, what the fuck is going? Like I loved it. It was just like these little fucked up scenes. And instead of like older games, like I don't know for some reason when I think older horror games, I think of what was that game? Fucking Quake. Like you play something like Quake, and it's all these fucked up shit, like H.R. Geiger shit all over the walls. But like, there's no real explanation. It's not like doesn't really pull you in. It's just fucked up shit to look at. But like, Outlast, when you're in there, it pulls you in. It's like it's fucked up shit, and you're fucked up for looking at this fucked up shit. And I like that because I think about that a lot when you're in horror games. I'm like what was it? Well, the Neighbor, I don't know how new games are right now because I just play it when it comes to me. Yeah. But there's this game called Neighbor.
Yeah, I play it when it's cheap as fuck.
Well, especially now being in China, I don't get news of anything. I just eventually hear about a game. I go, oh, that's interesting. I find.
Do you have a VPN?
Yeah, but right now my VPN's expired because ExpressVPN shit.
Yeah, it is. It's
I
garbage.
fucking hate it. My friend sent me.
That's right, Express.
Link.
Fuck you.
I'm sorry if this is sponsors, but anyway.
I would love to be sponsored by a functional VPN. Lantern worked for a long time, and from time to time, the free Lantern still works.
Okay.
But for me, neither of my... I got to a point where I was running Lantern and Express at the same time. Right. It just doesn't work anymore. It's because of the war games coming up. In August, there's going to be like a military parade in Wuhan.
That explains a lot. Because I was about to get Astral, but you need a VPN to get a VPN kind of
course,
shit.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't have VPN at the moment. But yeah, no, but I kind of like I'll explain in a moment. But like when I was in America, everything got really heated for me. Yeah. Like, I was that guy that was in all the news. I was surrounded by people who were in all the news, really passionate about that shit. So when I got to China, it was just this golden opportunity to just escape.
Yeah, it's a nice break.
Yeah, it's just like, you don't hear about anything. Of course, there's Chinese news, but you kind of laugh because it's propaganda-ish.
It's ludicrous.
But it's like, it makes you realize that you're being fed propaganda in your country. Yeah. You know?
Not to the same extreme degree.
Well, I think it's different because...
Well, like, if they're...
We like options in America. Yeah. You know, it's spicy salsa, sweet salsa, creamy salsa. It's still salsa, right? So, we like options. It's all propaganda, I think. But because we have so many, we like to think one of it must be true, you know? And so, because of that, I mean, here in China, it's like, it's one. It's one source. That's all you need. And we're like, oh, fucking idiots. We have like 1 billion, but they're all feeding us bullshit because we'll find out later, oh, that one that you listen to all the time, well, it was discovered that the dude was a pedophile. Oh, I'll never listen to that one again. That one's full of lies.
And I don't support pedophiles. But I listened to him because he
exactly. And then like, you are the asshole because you used to listen to him. Did you used to listen to blah, blah, blah? Oh, no, I've always hated him.
Oh, but he had great advice on, like, the best hot dog in Philadelphia.
Of course. Right. But yeah, because of that, I don't get the latest stuff. And going all the way backtracking to Neighbor's like, you're this nosy neighbor who you think your neighbor might be a killer or doing some weird shit, I should say. And then you realize, like, I didn't finish the game, but I think the game might be a joke. It would be funny if, like, the neighbor was not killed, but anyway, he's trying to kill you. I don't know. I was
maybe
hoping
you're the killer.
Yeah, some weird twist, some like what was it, M. Night Shyamalan thing.
Maybe no one did it.
You know, like there was never a man. It was me with a knife. You know, like I'm stabbing people. So
I got into American politics like a year before the 2016 election. I slowly progressed listening to more and more of that shit. Mm-hmm. And then right after the election, I dropped it. And I haven't looked into it since then. And it feels so good. It's such a nice, yeah.
I do. I was in it. I was in the trenches.
It's
with that
too much.
shit.
It's awful.
Because I was obviously a Bernie guy.
Why obviously?
Because I'm a young millennial who's tired of politics, you know. So.
You people.
Yeah. So, yeah, everyone's like, you probably wanted Bernie. Yeah, I did.
I wish I could do a Bernie impersonation, though.
Yeah. Oh, just an old Jewish man. Who's with you?
That's definitely not what he sounds like.
Yeah, it's not what he sounds like. But that's what I do when I think. I love Bernie. I still love Bernie. But yeah, I think, what the fuck? Stop with this shit. Anyway, it's starting to get Russian.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I don't do impressions. That's not my
standard.
But I was all in for him. Of course, he didn't get elected. We found out that it's all rigged.
Yeah.
But they're like, vote for it anyways, because the other guy sucks. And I'm just like, I hate everything.
Yeah.
And you know what's fucked up? As much shit I talked about all of it, I still voted for Hillary. I still voted. And you know what? That shit didn't work. And I was surprised, because honestly, when it was happening, I was like, oh, this shit's rigged. She's going to win. It's all bullshit. Because I was all in for Bernie. Bernie didn't happen. I was like, fuck this. You know, and then Trump won. I was like, oh, fuck.
Maybe it's not rigged.
Yeah, I was like, oh, and I voted.
Maybe it's real.
And one end I was happy I voted. I was like, wait, it does work. And then I was like, fuck, it works. You know, like, it was like, of course, like, it's the electoral college bullshit vote. That, you know. But then we later found out, actually, he did get most of the popular vote. I don't know. I don't know.
I remember hearing that, but I don't know about the source about it.
Yeah,
I don't remember where I heard that from.
We'll just say Hillary got the popular vote. But the point is,
there was a recount, and I heard the recount went badly for Hillary.
The point is, it's like, I think that's what happens with democracy. We want it so bad, we get it. It maybe works for a while. Then certain people complain, like, "Wait, what about us?" When and then it gets to a point where everyone's like, "It never works," and we're burning down the buildings.
I think it would be so easy for the government to strip away so much of like the gray area in politics, and they purposely don't, just to keep the masses confused.
Right.
It's one of the conspiracies I believe in.
Right, and I think that's why Trump...
How easy would it be to have a government website where you just go on and vote, and there's absolutely no need for a recount, and we're absolutely sure down to the last person who didn't vote, but we still have people physically going to voting like places.
Right.
It's fucking retarded.
Yeah, no, and it's like, I think that's why Trump was so liked, though.
Yeah.
Because he was such a breath of fresh air, not good air. But it was fresh because it wasn't the shit we were always used to.
I have a good analogy for what you're saying here. When I first came to China, I lived in Jiangxia on the farmland, and you've been here for a little while now.
Right.
How long?
It's a year now, yeah.
It's a year, okay.
Yeah, I've been here.
So there are some very pungent odors, right?
Right.
There's some real stinks.
Right. Like
every now, or just like sewage.
Oh,
yeah, like just beyond horrible.
Like something died.
Yeah, every now and then you're walking down the street and you walk through a cloud of shocking, horrible smell.
Fuck.
And you think to yourself, oh, it smells like shit. And at like some point in my first year here, after months and months of being here, and almost on a daily basis thinking to myself at least once or twice, oh, it smells like shit, I started to realize that I lost sense of what that really means. Until one day I was standing at a bus stop and a truck drove by with a bunch of pigs on it, and the scent of shit wafted past as the truck rode by, and my brain like lit up. I was like, that's what shit smells like. That's what actual shit smells like. That smells like shit, literally. That literally smells like shit.
Could you pass me the tissues?
Yeah.
The China air is getting in my nose. The extremely fresh China air.
Oh, yeah, it's the best. And so I think that's what you're talking about with Trump. Yeah,
he was
like
a break from the norm.
Long.
He was a break. That same thing with Bernie. He was a break from the norm, except he still was talking in that way where we think politicians should talk, kind of shit. And Trump was like, "Fuck that! Yeah. I grab her right in the pussy." But let's be honest here. Let's be honest here. So Trump supposedly super rich. I say supposedly because there's tons of shit that makes me question how rich he really is. But anyway.
He's rich enough.
I know he's rich.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who's rich, but
but how big is the difference between $1 billion and $2 billion?
There's a difference
$1 billion.
Yeah, exactly. But what was I gonna say? So if you're that rich and some being in China, this is maybe I guess more misogynist. But it's just like...
You animal. Before you even say what you're going to say.
But it's like...
Let me
you're that rich and I don't know the situation, But he was saying like, oh, you could just grab him by the pussy kind of thing, right?
No.
But if you're really rich, isn't that what isn't this what these rich guys do?
Well,
like,
if I'm not mistaken,
why do guys get rich?
If I'm not mistaken, in context, what he was saying is when you're really rich and famous and powerful, they let you do anything you want.
Yeah,
like grab them by the pussy.
I would totally believe that shit.
100%.
Yeah, like I hate this moral standard that women are at, which is like all of them are just these vulnerable flowers. Yeah. You know, it's like Bonnie and Clyde shit. Mm-hmm. Like making Bonnie seem like the victim. Yeah. Like and
she was just tagging
it just
along.
Depends on what wave of feminism we choose to
like
pick
she didn't
at
machine
the time.
gun anybody.
Because sometimes Bonnie will seem like just as villainous as Clyde. Mm-hmm. And then when we get to that feminism where all women are innocent, then Bonnie's just a victim.
But there's no doubt that Clyde's always a villain.
Yeah. Clyde's always the villain, no matter what. Because he's a man, and especially nowadays, he's a white man. Yeah. So it's just even worse.
So fucking evil.
He's so evil.
It's the purest form of evil.
His privilege is out the charts.
It's insane. Like, he was born evil.
Yeah.
He was born with, like, a smirk.
Like Satan was just like, fuck yeah, another one. You know, like, he's like just his semen's going out in the stars kind of
The
shit.
evil white doctor clipped his forked tail. So that
we
the
can't
world
let them
would never
know.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't let them know. That's the real conspiracy, people.
I still have the nub from mine.
That's the white man's got tailbones. And it's not from the monkey people. Anyway, so yeah, it's like
this is actually white paint. I'm red under this.
But it's like a fucking. I hate like they assume that the lady he was with wasn't a gold digging whore. You know. Yeah. Most of the women, I'm sure that want to be around
billionaires.
That surround billions in general.
80-year-old billionaires are there for one reason.
And like before people hate me, well, you hate me already, so it's not going to change. But you got to realize something. Perfect example. I know a lot about the whole when Tiger Woods and his whole wife and fucking Scandinavian whores. So one of the women was just an ex-woman of another golf champ. And then after she was done with Tiger Woods, she went to some other guy, another golf dude. They passed these women around. Man, you gotta realize
they were literally whores, right?
This is literally
they were buying them.
This is literally their job. They find these rich men, and they that's their life. It's
not a weekend pursuit. This is a full-time job.
Yeah,
they got a resume. Like they go to the next interview. They're like, I just fucked Tiger. Oh, Tiger, okay.
And in reality, I don't.
Do you have a reference?
He like puts is like really good at licking your asshole.
Yeah, never smells bad.
Yeah, never smells bad. Yeah. You know, she doesn't. Go around the gas. But she is the trophy wife. But the point. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I look at myself. I wouldn't call myself a feminist, but I look at myself sometimes more of a feminist because I see women can be just as evil as men. Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of women who are disingenuous about what feminism is don't want to appreciate the real equality, which would require recognizing them as villains as well.
Right. And of course, there's different ways of feminism. So a third wave feminist right now be like, of course women, blah, 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 blah. But let's not forget, there are still second wave feminists who are like Hillary people. People are like, she's a woman. And Hillary's just saying stuff like, I'm a woman. If you don't vote for me, you're against women.
Well, you were with her. You voted for her.
I voted for her because I was like, fuck it, whatever. I wouldn't vote for Trump, But I was, in my head at the time, I was like, it's all rigged. And then again, like we said last time, I realized it is rigged.
It is rigged. We
but
would
it's
never let
rigged.
A woman become president.
I'll let this black man become president, but I would be goddamned if I let a white woman become president.
Fucking unbelievable. The nerve.
Do you realize how much we hate you? Anyway,
who let her put shoes on?
She's wearing pants? She's wearing what? Anyway.
Those suit pants are terrible.
So, what was that one suit she wore? That was
it was like a whole red suit pants.
Right? It was a villain suit.
It was all red.
No, she had a white suit. It was like a
really?
It was like a villain or rapper suit at one point. She just copied this rapper, some villain from a movie. It's weird how both of those kind of mix together, rappers and movie villains. But anyway, Yeah, no, so you have all these different feminists. So yeah, one side is mad because they go, we agree. The other side's mad because we disagree. Mm-hmm. But all I'm trying to say is this, is women are just evil as men because they're human. Mm-hmm. Humans suck. Men suck too.
I concur.
But I don't need to say that because everyone shouts at me every day. Yeah. So what's the point of me wasting my breath, right? We all suck, right? So you see my set. I kind of like knock women down a bit. Some say it's punching down. But I think it's punching right up in the pussy. Because I think that's what's really going on.
Because you only attack women who play basketball.
No, it's like, I'm not saying women control everything. Obviously, most people who are the heads of anything are mostly men. You know, I don't want to say white men because we're in China. You know, most people here are fucking Chinese, you know. Yeah. And anywhere
I feel
else.
the oppression every day.
They're mostly men.
As a white man in China, I feel oppressed.
Doesn't it feel great?
It's fantastic.
I can bitch and complain.
Yeah, like, it's ridiculous.
It's like, I am the minority here.
Special treatment is incredible.
But no, it's weird because when I have moved abroad, it opens your mind up to, most of the Western world, mostly white men, control everything. But most men control everything in the world, right? So yes, there is, you can see as a woman being down. But women get this other power, you know, which is men are just going around wanting women. I hate it. I hate that. I hate like these urges in my head. Yeah. I see a bum woman. I see a bum woman. She got fucking nothing. Right?
Nothing beyond physical.
Yeah. She could be working at McDonald's or here at fucking noodle shop. Like not even a good noodle shop. Like one of those, like it's literally just Rogami in all day and they're just open from like 8 a.m. till 10. You know, those weird hours. Yeah, yeah. And like, I'm like, I want to fuck her. I'll marry her. You know, like all this weird fantasy stuff.
You're reckless.
Yeah, like all this fantasy stuff that goes through your head. I'm not saying like I've ever done that, but it's just like fantasies go through your head. Mm-hmm. I know that, but like in my set, I see like women, you know, they go through the list of everything a guy has. Still not enough. Woman just has to exist. Mm-hmm. You know?
Most of the time.
So, on one hand, you could be like, yes, because you see us as objects. But it's the most powerful thing in the world is the pussy. Right?
It is, yes.
Every guy, and I kind of like the Me Too movement because it just shows how stupid men are for pussy. Yeah. The things they're willing to do for it.
But I think that's already so obvious to everybody.
Well, yeah, but it's
really
like...
beating a dead horse.
But
I think there's two things that women... either don't understand. Also, I'm not... There's I forget what the saying is exactly, but it's something along the lines of don't attribute to malice what can be attributed to incompetence. Okay. You know, just assume people are stupid first. And then if you can prove that they're not stupid, then you can say, okay, maybe they meant to do this. Maybe they're evil. But sometimes something seems so obvious, it's hard to assume that people are stupid. So there are two things that I don't think most women recognize. First of all is the criteria that men use when they judge whether another man is respectable or not. They use that same criteria for women, and men will not change their criteria. And so the criteria I use to determine whether I'm going to respect a man or not is the same I use for a woman. And I think a lot of women don't appreciate that fact. And they want special treatment. And the moment they want special treatment, they're no longer going to get that respect.
Well, yeah, but you know as much as I know, there's a lot of women we don't respect, but we still dated them for a long period of time. Yeah,
you're going to fuck somebody you don't respect.
That's what I'm saying, though, is like men are, all we have is respect. Mm-hmm. Once a man loses respect, he loses everything. Yeah. Same thing with the Me Too movement. The moment that a guy lost respect, he's out. A woman's different. Look at Cardi B, right? So I don't know if you know Cardi B.
Almost nothing about her. I've seen some interviews.
She's a rapper. She used to be a stripper. It turns out she would drug men just like Bill Cosby and would do shit to them. Would even have transsexuals or trannies for the local man come in and fuck them.
Yeah, so she's drugging and getting guys raped.
Yeah, and on one hand you could say like, you know, horrible shit's probably happened to her. She was a stripper. I understand. I used to be a stripper, right? She's probably had to do some really fucked up shit, right? But she lost, you could say, respect from a good amount of people, right? But she's still in the game. She's not going to get kicked out, you know? Bill Cosby, right?
Did nothing wrong.
I mean, how else are you going to get a woman? Anyway, no.
He's like 156 years old. What is he going to do?
So, and this is going to lead into my why I hate Captain Marvel thing. Okay. So give me a minute.
There we go.
So, I hate that fucking movie. Anyway, so Bill Cosby, right? He did horrible acts. He lost respect. He lost respect for me, right? He has nothing now, right? No job, no one to stand behind his back except for the few people who somehow he impacted lives very deeply, and they have to stand by him, almost like a father figure. And I don't blame them for that, because the podium Martin Luther King spoke on, our I Have a Dream speech, Bill Cosby bought that for him. Okay. He bought that podium. Bill Cosby did so much for the community. He also wanted to oddly enough, kind of tear it down because he wanted to control comedy, right? He thought certain things, like his famous "Pull Your Pants Up" speech during the BET Awards, right? He wanted comedians, especially black comedians, to act a certain way, to be a certain way. He was trying to buy HBO, and good thing he didn't, or we wouldn't have the HBO specials we have now of comedy, right?
Okay.
So he did all this shit, and some of the shit backtracked. But the point is, like you said before, I agree wholeheartedly. Because he's a man and he lost respect, he has nothing, right? He's an old man, practically blind. He's gonna be in jail. And he's gonna rot until the day he dies. In jail, right? And as someone who lost respect for him, I think he should. But a woman that loses respect can just keep living the livelong day. Yeah, you know what I'm fucking saying?
There's a huge double standard when it comes to sentencing for men and women. Yeah, women consistently get more lenient sentencing.
Right, and on one hand, see, this is where the part. People might say I'm flip-floppy, but I just believe that I could be completely wrong at all times.
Yeah, that's a good policy.
Yeah, so I'm not saying I'm someone who thinks
I'd say most people are mostly wrong most of the time.
But, like, maybe this is to balance out the power of the fact that we can easily rape women, you know? Mm-hmm. We can. Like, there are tons of times, this is going to be a fucked up thought, but, like, you're with a woman in an elevator, you go, I could rape her. You're like, I could rape her. Of course I don't, people. You know?
Yeah, well, you have those thoughts all the time. Like, how many times you're in the bank and you're like, yeah, I could probably rob this shit.
It's just fucked. Like, I could push this baby into the street. Yeah. You know, it's fucked up thoughts.
Someone gets out of their car and they leave the keys in it. Like I could just get in this car and drive away right now.
Like, those thoughts, these moments of dread, I forgot what it's called in psychology, but it is a thing. When you think the worst. Yeah, or when you're on a really, really, really packed bus. And you just want to punch the person standing right in front of you because they're like breathing into your mouth. You know? You think the worst, and you think of the worst things that you actually are capable of. You could actually do these things. So when I think of the worst things, one of those is rape. So just imagine you're this creature, which is a woman, right? And when I also mean creature, I mean men too. But like the woman creature of these animals that we are, right? They could easily be physically done harm to. Yeah, right? They're smaller and weaker, generally. You know, they date their predators. That's what men are. Yeah, 100%. You know, we're like fucking like bears, and they're like fucking, I don't know, salmon or blueberries or something. Whatever the fuck bears eat. They're blueberries. Yeah. They have to date us. And we could just destroy them at any moment. We could just destroy, like, horribly. Yeah, like, we watch movies where the woman gets, like, yeah, I'm a tattoo rapist on your face. You know, like, some dragon tattoo shit. But the reality is, as we see in all the crime shows of reality, so to speak, air quotes again, or just crime reports, 9 times out of 10, it ends horribly for the woman. Yeah, yeah. Unless, so have you noticed that, do you ever watch MMA? Yeah. Yeah. So the moment Ronda Rousey became famous, suddenly every female character in every movie was an MMA like superstar, and they were all doing arm bars and shit like that. Yeah. Yeah. So what are you gonna do? That's permanent now. For the rest of time, Hollywood will make every female character a judo expert. Yeah. So I guess I'm not saying. Oh wait, that's what I was leading to. So Captain Marvel. Yeah. Your favorite movie. But yeah, my favorite movie,
Yeah.
Captain Marvel. Yeah. I fucking hate that.
The only problem with Captain Marvel is that there were a few men on the crew making it.
So the main reason I hate this movie, and this is my problem with feminists, they're willing to sacrifice other people fighting the good fight just so they could get a head up. Perfect example, Nick Fury. Before this movie, Nick Fury was a badass, right? Fucking Winter Soldier, right? You seen that movie?
Yeah.
Like, they built this character around Nick Fury, and he just became, and he's in almost every Marvel movie of that universe, and you're just like, man, like, yeah, these guys, they got superpowers, but Nick Fury's a spy. You don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm not saying Nick Fury's like better than Iron Man or something like that.
But he's got all the
But
knowledge.
he's a good character. Yeah. He's a good character. That movie fucking comes out. They go, no, this white woman inspired this black man, this poor, naive black man, to create the Avengers. This white woman, this beautiful blonde, blue-eyed woman, she inspired this black man to fight for the good fight in space and not just local FBI shit. I hated it. I was like, this is the problem with feminism. It happens all the time. And this is why a lot of women in feminism don't quite understand black women. Why a lot of black women will take men's side. Because sometimes black women have to dedicate themselves to the black side. Because this is the shit I'm talking about. Yeah, it's just a fucking movie, but this perfectly zonifies tons of black movements where they realize the feminists are going in another direction, a direction that's not going to help them. If anything, it's going to hurt them. Now Nick Fury sucks. The way he lost his eye, oh yeah, this little pussycat just scratched it out. And he was so naive. He was like, oh, it'll be fine. And now we can't look out of it. Ho, ho, ho. And like, this lady is just running around who's not a believable character. She's like a fucking plank of wood. She's
literally no personality.
Her personality is just...
She's also just a MacGuffin. Everything she does in the movie is just to... It's like they have children writing these things, and every 15 minutes they hit a plot wall, and they're like, how do we get past this? Like, oh, well, she just solves the problem.
Yeah.
All right, and
she's just badass.
Yeah, and then 15 minutes of drivel later, we have another big wall here. How do we solve this? Oh, well, she just solves it. Whatever it needs to be done, she just solves it.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a problem, she just fixes it. There's no story. There's no reasoning. It's just...
Yeah. And I'm not saying every Marvel movie has to be great.
No, of course not. And they make so many. A lot of them are going to be bad.
Yeah. They make so many of this shit. Yeah. There will be bad ones. It's just the problem I have that people back up this bad movie. It's like, no! It came out on Women's Day. It's like, no! This movie's for women, you insensitive fuck. You got Black Panther. Okay? Give us this. It's like, no. This movie is just perfectly shows.
Well, Black Panther is a legitimately good movie. Yeah, it's not good because it's filled with black people.
Yeah, it's a good movie. And it wasn't those movies like... It wasn't like this movie where it was in your face like, I am a woman, This was more like, this is just black culture.
All the characters had depth. There was a real story.
Yeah.
You could see both sides of the villain and the hero.
Yes.
You didn't even know who to root for.
The villain even changed the hero.
Yeah.
Like that's rare.
It's just good writing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying Captain Marvel was going to be bad because she was a woman. There are good female characters in this universe. A perfect female character I love is Scarlet Witch and Wasp.
Yeah.
I love Wasp. I love Scarlet Witch. Black Widow I'm a bit iffy on.
So you know what I hate about contemporary social bullshit?
What?
Is that you're giving a what's that called? I can never remember words. You're doing this thing where you're like... You're saying bad things about women, and then you need to...
I have to backtrack. I hate this shit.
Then you need to remind everyone, I don't hate women.
Yes.
These are the women that I love.
Yes,
What's that? A disclaimer. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, I have to disclaim.
I hate that we have to put disclaimers down.
We can't use common sense a lot of time. Like, it's like when we tell jokes. Mm-hmm. We even sometimes have to give disclaimers when we tell jokes.
I as a rule, will never give disclaimers.
Good.
I think that's the subtle... propagandistic mind control. Anyone who disagrees with this stuff but still feels like they need to give disclaimers has been affected, whether they want to agree with it or not.
I know I have.
Yeah.
It fucking sucks. Yeah. It fucking sucks. And it's like, when you talk about this bad movie, which we all should just agree it's a bad movie, not even talking about women, just it's a bad movie. But the fact that it claimed itself like a parasite to some sort of moral good.
Yeah.
Now we have to all appreciate it? What the fuck?
Disgusting.
You know? But yeah, so anyway, the black man goes down, the white woman goes up in the movie. That's all it is. That's why I hate it, you know, for a good reason. That's my good reason. Other than that, it's mostly just, it's a bad movie. Fucking the last, spoiler alert, the last Avengers movie. My eyes rolled all the way in the back of my head during that. We got this, little boy. And then like all the women are just like, yeah. For one, that scene was so unnatural. It's like, why is every single female hero in one spot for no reason?
And they were all fighting in different places before that.
Yeah.
Not to mention Wonder Woman, or not Wonder Woman, the Wonder Woman equivalent, Marvel, Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
She's 1,000 times stronger than all the other women. And she can fly. Why the fuck are they running along the ground?
Yeah.
And she does end up just flying away with it, which they could have done from the very beginning. It's just terrible writing.
And what I hate more is, again, with propaganda. You have like things like Instagram, where they're just posting all these pictures, like all the females, and it's all the females who were in the movie, you know, and it's just this constant, like, and I hate that actress's smile. Like, she just has that, like, force. Like, the lady who eats salad and cereal in commercials, like, that force, like, oh, you're so hilarious, cereal. You know, like that stupid smile. Like, I hate that. And you can tell, like, you see that interview she did with Chris Hemsworth and fuck, I forgot his name.
Which character?
He's the black guy, so this is bad. No, it's War Machine. I forgot the actor's name.
Don Cheadle?
Don Cheadle, yes. Sorry. I'm sorry I forgot Don Cheadle's name. He's the black guy. I should have remembered him first. Before Chris
ironically, I didn't even know who War Machine was until a little while ago. I didn't know that his character had a name in the comic books.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're racist.
Well,
you don't pay attention to black.
I mean, like, the human being has a name. I didn't know that he got his own superhero name.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I didn't assume that they just called him Black Guy Number 4
Good
or
job.
something.
Black Guy Number 4. Black Iron Man. Like, just, it's like Black Thunder. Just be obvious. But no, it's like during the interview, it was so obvious they don't like her. It's like, God, I gotta work with this.
Doesn't seem to be very charismatic.
Yeah. It's just, so like, the actress isn't likable. And I say, I hate all actors, honestly. They suck. They think they're insightful, but they're people that just do what they're told.
A friend of mine in America has been trying to make movies since high school, and so I'm always hearing about the plight of working with actors. They sound like the most horrific employees you could ever imagine.
And I went to art school. I know a lot of actors. I have actor friends.
Oh,
and
as an artist.
As an artist.
Oh, God.
From
this is why I left art school. This is why I didn't
This is why I left art school. Yeah. Dude,
I couldn't stand the bullshit. I couldn't stand going into fucking galleries and listening. You know what insulted me more than anything in the fucking world?
What?
Is that as a sculptural student, and I'm gonna piss a lot of people off here, but our work is harder than yours. Okay? It is more difficult to make a sculpture than to make a painting. Alright? And it's more difficult to make a painting than it is to do like a pencil drawing. Okay? So when I go into a gallery space is extremely sought after, extremely limited. And there's like a 20-foot by 10-foot fucking piece of paper with a red line, horizontal line, or a diagonal line drawn through it. And that's it. It's just like a white piece of paper with a line in it. And it's just wasting an entire fucking wall. Like, I just can't think of the thousands of hours that went into super high quality sculptures that aren't in this fucking gallery because of this piece of shit. And then there's some asshole with a mustache explaining to you why this represents bullshit.
That being said, and I'm not being jelly right now, because I do sculptures too, but there are some sculptors who like will make a light arrangement. Well, it's just light bulbs.
Yeah, but that's I forget the name for that. That's a different type of sculpture.
Yeah. Well, but that's what I'm saying. Same thing with paintings, different types of paintings.
Yeah, fair.
Right,
fair. That's fair. That's fair.
You know, let's make compromises. Okay. Actually, let's not. Fuck you. Like, yeah,
I prefer that. That's easier.
Yeah. No. I agree that there are types of the art world who a lot of people don't realize there's a lot of work that goes into it, especially sculpture. I remember when I went to it was in Colorado, Boulder, Colorado. They have an institution there where basically you just sculpt for 2 weeks and that's it. It's really cool. It's really chill.
What medium were you using?
I just like clay.
Yeah.
I was trying to work with stone.
Sculptor.
I was trying to work with stone. I want to work with stone, but my whole life I've just been out of luck. Like either the teacher leaves or some stupid happens. Yeah. But the point is, I mostly worked with clay then, and there's just so much work that goes into sculpture. And you go into like a gallery, for instance, and there's like one sculpture piece. You know it took a long time, but it's just like then that artist only does sculpture. He was only allowed that space because his sculptures probably are bigger or probably take up more space somehow, right? And then, like, again, you have the asshole painter. Because most painters are assholes, I know. A lot of them. Yeah, so they have all this fucking wall space. And the reality is this, and this is what a lot of people don't realize about galleries. Galleries aren't the best representation of art, I think.
Certainly not.
Some better than others. Perfect example, paintings. Painting can hang on a wall. But when you have a sculpture, some sculptures just don't work well in a gallery. No. You know, it's like almost getting an elephant and putting it in a box.
And it's like, extremely political. The gallery person needs to agree with your work.
Oh, dude, that's what got me. Yes. That's what really got me about quitting art school. And not just quitting art school, just a big fuck you to the whole art world. Because I do still paint, and I still in a way have to still deal with these fucks. I'm not saying I'm out the game. You know, I still want to work with people. But it's all fucking political. Yeah. You go to fucking art school, and I know you fucking met them. These fucking asshole cunts who just
shit cunts.
Yeah, shit fucking cunt fucking nuggets. Yeah. You know, like these stupid motherfuckers who go to school, and it's just because their parent owned a gallery or some shit like that.
And they get like an art crit degree.
Yes, and their art goes straight up on the wall.
Their whole life is sitting there with a glass of wine, just shitting on everyone else's art. And 9 times out of 10, this person's incapable of doing anything themselves.
Right. Or they steal. Yeah. And I'm not just saying that shit to be mean. I've had personally artwork stolen from bitches I fucked. You know, stolen my fucking art. You know, well, I'm not gonna name it. That
sounds like a trade.
Yeah, but it's
barter system.
I've gone in the gallery and I've seen my art on the wall.
I have a lot of pottery. I trade it for sex. I can always make more.
But it's just like it's such a rigged system.
It is.
And it's not just art world. Obviously, tons of other fucking shit is. Don't fucking patronize me. I'm not talking to you. The neat out there.
What always felt so disingenuous was one of the things I hated was you were always pressured, so much intense pressure to explain your artwork. And I always fought back against that so intensely. I would make sculptures of like disabled dogs that had their legs cut off and replaced by wheels. I made a sculpture of a woman connected at the waist with a dog and stuff like this. That really pissed off the feminists. But everyone always wanted a crystal clear explanation. I'd always refuse. And then we would get into huge arguments in our critiques. And I would always break down to this. I would say, why do I need to tell you what this means? Why do I need to write up an explanation when this asshole over here just made like a blue cube and he's like, it is the feeling of the essence of fucking water or some bullshit like that. Like his explanation is like fucking, it feels like Tuesday. And everyone's just like, oh yes, it does feel like Tuesday. Yeah, my Tuesdays are a blue cube as well. And I'm like, how, if an explanation is what you want, how is that acceptable? I'm 100% convinced that my lack of explanation is just as valid as his horseshit. I hated art school. Yeah. I mean, I loved doing the art. I hated all of the people. I liked a lot of my professors. But coming back to ceramics is so fucking brutal. All the painters out there who have never done ceramic sculpture, your paintings don't just explode, all right? Even at the highest level. My sculptural professor, my ceramic professor, one of them, was one of the best sculptors I'd ever seen. And, I mean, he would make, like, life-size lions and shit like this. And even for him, 2 out of every 3 pieces he makes either explode in the kiln or they crumble to pieces before they make it to the kiln. And he's been doing it for fucking 20 or 30 years. You know? So, like, if you're a painter, What I would like you to do is spend 6 months making three. Yeah. Spend 6 months making 3 paintings and then flip a coin and burn 2 of them. All right? That's what it feels like to be a ceramic artist. And then that third one, no one wants to buy it.
That's how it always
because no one needs a 1,000-pound lion.
I felt my problem always with sculpture. Originally, I was going to go to art school for sculpture. I don't want to say the school's name, but the school I went to, an art school. It's mostly a design school, but it was one of the highest ranked. I don't want to say that because they're known for suing people.
They're known for suing people?
Yeah, they sue the fuck out of people.
For funsies?
I fucking hate that school. It's just a money laundering scheme. That's all that place is. But point is, I went there. I didn't know this. I was just a naive, young, wannabe artist kind of shit. And I originally wanted to do sculpture because as much as I love painting and drawing, that's probably what I do the most. There was just always something about doing a sculpture. It felt like this is going to sound really fucked up. It's like making a child.
It's creating something.
You can say that about painting and drawing, but I'm just saying, like, for me, when I would make a sculpture, it's just weird. It's like I literally created an entity.
You create something from nothing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So, but they didn't have that program. They had one class, and I did it, and then like literally after I did that class, the next semester they just stopped all 3D art. They're like, fuck it, doesn't make money. Because this school is more about, they always guarantee their students a job, which is a noble thing for an art school, especially.
Yeah.
But
I don't know how you guarantee students a job in those fields.
I don't want to say his name, but it's
some sketchy shit.
It's some sketchy shit. Like, people do get jobs. They're not the best.
Mafia hitman.
It's like China. It's like, we're going to get you a job. And you're sweeping the streets, It's like... But it's like they do get people jobs, especially if you're hardworking. You will get a job at the end of the college. I know many people who went to school and graduated. I'm still friends with them. Got a job if they were hardworking. A lot of people who were just kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying those people didn't work hard. It's just there is something about being in art school that just makes you uncertain about everything.
Yeah. Also, something that a lot of people don't appreciate is that you have these critiques regularly of your work.
Yes.
And especially when you're still learning and you're still trying new things and such, your work, you have an idea of what the finished product is, and you're not really capable of getting there. And it's like an exponential curve where like the harder you work, the less progress you make, and you're always getting closer, but you're never going to get there. Yeah. And it's an infinite scale of quality. Yeah. And so it doesn't matter if you're in the art building 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. When that critique comes around, you're not ready for it. Your piece isn't finished, quote unquote finished. Yeah. And with, like, if you're fully committed, an art degree can be the most time-consuming degree you can take. I had friends who were like in the English department and business and stuff like that. Those motherfuckers were out drinking every day because they didn't have shit to do. It's like, what'd you do this? Like, I had like a 5-page paper. Like, how long did it take you to write it? Well, I snorted a bunch of Adderall. I wrote it in 20 minutes, and now I have nothing to do for the rest of the week.
But it's interesting you say that because I dropped out and went back to school for psychology. And then I got the other side of the academic world, which is these papers on, like what people consider real degrees, right?
Yeah. Again, air quotes, real.
A real degree. And then you realize if you can learn the rhythm of the song, so to speak, learn how to write these academic, it's like you said, just pop up shit to the arrow, bam, blow it out.
Bam out, and then you got nothing to do for a couple days.
Yeah. I still remember sleepless nights in art school.
Yeah. Like I had sleeping in the art building. I used to sleep in the art building at least 3 nights a week, probably.
Yeah, I would
have ceramics at 8 a.m. and then I'd have sculpture 2 at 8 a.m. and then in the same classroom I'd have $4.99 independent study sculptural class from 6 to 9 p.m. Shit. And then I'd stay there after 9 p.m. and I'd just work through the night and sleep in that room from like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. until 7:30, and then the class comes in. I have my next class the next day. The same thing, sculpture. Fucking yeah.
Shoot me now.
Yeah, exactly. And I got friends like, oh man, I'm stressing out about my business exam. I'm like, oh yeah, you piece of shit. Oh, you mean the exam you haven't been studying for? You've had 6 weeks or 6 months to study for?
Yeah, and you can use all sorts of statistics for when you study like a normal degree like that, where like I've heard, of course it changes a lot, but mostly people say like you can only really study for 2 hours, right? And after that, you're just kind of wasting time.
It's hard to concentrate or whatever.
Your brain's just kind of going through, and then next thing you take the test, like, wait, fuck, I don't remember.
With that or all, you can pump that up to 5 or 6 hours at least.
But like with art, we don't have that luxury. This thing has to be created.
Yes.
Who gives a fuck if you're remembering? It's like you have to create this thing.
And if it's not abstract, like let's say you're in an advanced sculpture class, and everyone has to make a hand or something like this, or a face.
Yeah.
It's extremely obvious how much time you spent on it when the critique comes around. If your face looks like shit, then that means you obviously didn't spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
Or if everyone knows that you're not a very good sculptor and your face looks really good, then that means that you spent hundreds of hours on that over the course of the last month and a half.
And everyone thinks there are some art classes, mostly a lot of them are intro.
Yeah.
That you can skim by with some bullshit.
Yeah, like pottery classes are a lot like that.
Yeah.
I really appreciated my pottery teacher in college because her policy was that no one gets to keep their work. Oh. We won't bisque fire any work until the very end of the semester. And so you end up making thousands of pieces with knowing that none of them will be fired.
Shit.
So you make them, you get them to bone dry, and then you destroy them, you reclaim them. Because she used to say that, I don't remember exactly what she said, but basically, you're not worth the material. Yeah, you guys have no idea what you're doing. All the work that you make is going to be shit.
I like that, though.
And I'm not going to accept thousands of garbage pieces that can't go back. Once they're bisque fired, it's stone. It can never go back to being clay, you know? And we don't need that much grog.
God, if I ever become an art teacher again, I would hope I have those kind of balls.
Yeah, I would like to do the same thing as well.
Yeah, just
like you guys are gonna make 100 pots a day, 6 days a week for the next 4 months.
I love saying like "fuck yous" to students.
Yeah, and then the last week of class, that's the stuff you'll keep.
Yeah, because obviously we used to be students. You know, you walked in with this at the beginning. At least for me, you were a big fish in a small pond, like you're in high school or some shit. You're like, yeah, I got skills to pay. Because, like, I did college classes in high school. Okay. So I'm going to college on a high horse kind of shit. And I'm glad I had...
You were educated.
Yeah. So I'm going in. I'm like, oh, I don't need this shit, blah, 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 you know. I'm glad I had the life drawing teacher I had. I don't want to say her name, but she really brought me down some notches because I'm just doing shit, blah, blah, blah. And she could tell, like... my personality, who I was. She's seen a lot of students like me, you know, and now being a teacher, I appreciate her even more. But she was just like, I remember one day we did a drawing of this older woman, and she was criticizing I really press hard when I draw. It's just, even when I hold a pencil, it's not right, you know. I found that out while teaching. Someone was like...
It's all your violent masculinity.
Yeah, right? But
trying to penetrate the paper with your phallic pencil.
Just constantly pulling in and out. But she told me this, and she was just always hard on me. And at first I'm like, oh, she's such a bitch, blah, 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 blah. And then we made this almost second to last piece for the semester. And she pulls me aside, and she's like, look, and I get it now, what she was saying. I didn't so much then. She was saying, like, think you're hot shit kind of thing. But you gotta realize something is that even if your piece is technically the most realistic or the best in the class, you know, no one is gonna want to work with you. And everyone forgets a bad piece. No one forgets a bad attitude.
Okay.
That's what she taught me.
That's good.
And I over time, I've grown with that echoing through my head. Because she was right. You know, a lot of people worked with me now because I've cleared it up. I guess you could say, like Kendra Lamar, I got a little humble kind of thing. But it's just like now I meet these people who are like me or worse, and they just think they're hot shit. And you're just like I wish I had her balls.
Yeah.
So hopefully in the future I'll be able to do that. Tell some student like, fuck you. You piece of shit.
I tell that to my students every single day.
You're all not going to be anything.
Well, I think... So I teach, like everyone else here, I do part-time work, unless the Chinese government asks, in which case I'm a very good Lao Wai. I don't break any rules. I just work my university classes, and I come back and, praise the party.
Worshipping Mao.
But I teach children on the weekend and university students during the week. And it's such an intense contrast, I should say. And so on the weekend, I'm super supportive. Because in my mind, these kids haven't been fucked up yet. And so they're like 7 and 8, 10-year-olds, maybe some 12-year-olds in like the older classes. Yeah, I'm trying to get ahead of the curve here, and I'm trying to like tell them just to be mindful of how they spend their time, and to be mindful of who they're turning into as they get older, and to be mindful of, and to like be appreciative, I suppose. And to not take things so seriously, because at that age they're getting ready to go into high school, and so they're getting ready for the Gaokao, and they're already studying 7 days a week, all day, every day, and they're already falling out of touch with their friends and whatnot, which is going to be the case for the next decade for them, pretty much. So it's a rough time for them. But then my university students have just gotten out of that rough time, right. And they have such an intense desire to do nothing. They have such an intense desire to just lounge back and do nothing. And the freshmen will explicitly say to you, "We finished our Gaokao. There's nothing left. We don't have to try anymore. We're past the difficult part." And I'll always ask them, like, "Okay, so what did you learn from the Gaokao that you expect to use at some point in your life?" It's just as meaningless as our SAT. Yeah. You're never going to use any of it, except they study 10 times harder than any American students study for the SAT. It ruins their lives studying for the Gaokao. And so I feel like a shot of tough love is what they need to snap them out of it and be like, this now, in your early 20s, is when you need to be trying hard, when you need to be working hard, when you need to figure out who you are, you need to learn about your environment, you need to, not be so fucking sheltered. My students are shockingly boring human beings. Yeah. There's no charisma, there's no personal skills, there's no personality. No hobbies, they don't have dreams, hobbies, goals, they don't have interests, they've never had any job experience, they've never been in a relationship, they can't even tell a fucking joke or a story. But
that's kind of like how it is here. Like, they're given stuff.
Yeah, well, they're treated like babies.
Well, yeah, like, the little emperors and empresses, yeah. But, like, they're given everything. They'll get the job because they'll just do their family job. They'll get a house because the family will get them a house. And they'll get a relationship because the family will find another family that's close to them. Like, you have a single daughter, I have a single son, make this happen.
Well, not so much as arranged nowadays.
Well, yeah, but still, it's like, even when we go out to, again, these clubs, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of like, the women gravitate towards. I remember my Chinese friend. He was telling me this. That there's he says cheap, like, oh, you can tell if a girl's cheap, but he actually means if she's a poser, right? And I've noticed
she's like fake,
right? They gravitate to people that are like them, and you can say that for everyone around the world. But what I mean by that is like, oh, he's middle class, I'm middle class, we hook up. And it's not like, oh, I like him because blah, 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 blah. There are a lot of Chinese girls like that. I'm not saying they don't exist.
Yeah, of course.
But, disclaimer. But
disgusting.
let's just see the reality for a minute. There's a shit ton of people here.
Yes.
And most of them just say, you're my class, we hook up. And you can see the couples, their faces, they're miserable. Luckily they have the technology now. They can distract themselves. Anytime you're on the metro, no one's looking up. They're all looking at their phone, unless they're old.
There's so many young, unhappy marriages here. It's insane. Yeah. You go to the nightclub or you go to a bar, it's filled with married people who are looking to cheat on their significant other. Because they got married when they were like 19. They had literally never talked to the opposite sex before that person. Yes. And they probably got married before they even had sex.
Dude, and Chinese guys don't know how to flirt. I've seen it. It's disgusting. It's disgusting how they flirt with women.
Honestly, they're similar to women, just globally.
Yeah.
I think women don't know how to flirt.
Yeah, in a weird way, Chinese men are just women. They're like, in a sense of, they just exist and they will get what they get, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a house now, give me my wife. And they get it.
And they're unhappy with what they get.
Yes! And they don't know, like, how to express themselves. They don't know, like, all they know how to do is I sing at KTV, I get fucking plastered with my friends.
I just spend a ton of money and then hopefully somebody will have sex with me.
Right. Or they, you know.
That comes to the face thing. That comes back. Like, when that guy invites the Lawai to the table to drink with him, he's gaining face. And so, this is my interpretation of Chinese face. It's such a clusterfuck of an idea. I think that in his mind improves his standing with all the people there, especially the women, because somehow that makes him like the dude.
Yeah, I agree.
The guy. But none of those women are leaving with him. Not a chance. I've never seen it happen.
I mean, it makes their confidence go up, but they just they got no. They don't know how to, like, well, even like not just women, they just don't know how to talk to people.
They also don't plan it out. So like, I don't go to bars much anymore, but like my first year here, especially, I did a lot constantly. Especially since it was really soon after I left college, and I was still in the college mindset, and I didn't want to give up the party life. Okay. Now I feel like an old man. I had like 5 beers last night, and I didn't feel well this morning. I'm literally dying. I got like another 6 months probably. But they'll invite you to their table, and it's like they don't forward plan. Like if you go to a table and you got like a Lao Ban at the table, that means boss for everyone listening in Chinese. You got a Lao Ban at the table, and he's like, you know, a big shot. You know, he's like buying all this shit, and you come to his table. It's like, if he thought about it a little bit, he would recognize that maybe a drinking competition with the giant foreigner is not a good idea, right? And especially since he's already been there. I just arrived, so he presumably has been drinking for a few hours. He's already drunk. But no, he gets a case of beer, and then he gets whiskey cola buckets, and then he orders a bottle of whiskey, and then he starts getting flaming Sambuca shots. And then 3 hours later, he is either face down on the table or he's projectile vomiting in the bathroom. And this is the difference between the men and women. The women all knew this was going to happen the moment I came over to the table, and so they all stopped drinking because they knew he was going to go fuck himself up, and then we all go to the club. And when I say we all, obviously just me and the women. Yeah.
It's happened to me too.
Yeah. Happens again and again. Extremely consistent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to make it seem like I got a tremendous amount of game.
No, you don't need it here.
But here, you don't.
I don't think that Chinese girls are particularly necessarily attracted to foreigners. I think they're just really repulsed by the Chinese guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I say Chinese guys, they got nothing.
All
they got is money. And for a long time, I thought
they're so uncouth and they're so filthy and they're so unattractive in so many ways.
Yeah, like their haircuts and like just
anyone who's never been to mainland China, we're talking about like hawking loogies on the floor in an expensive restaurant kind of thing. Like people who never brush their teeth kind of thing. Like people who obviously haven't bathed in weeks kind of thing.
And before, you know, disclaimer, because
chain smoking cigarettes and like
I'm the disclaimer
and like
here.
Ashing them onto the table.
But
kind of stuff.
Before you're like, oh, your first world problems, and they're not. It's not third world here. If anything, you're fucked up for thinking that. They have more money than more people I've ever known in my entire life.
I've had girls approach me and like explain to me why they like foreigners, and it's been something as simple as like, you guys don't throw trash on the ground. I had a girl say that in a restaurant when I finished my food. I took my food and I like piled it all up, crumpled it together, and then I went and found a trash can in the restaurant and put it in the trash can. And a girl came up to me and asked me for a WeChat, and she was like, "Wow, foreigners are so clean. You put the trash in the trash can." I was like, "That's impressive? That's impressive to you?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just it's like small, simple shit they love. I mean, I don't want to say the guy's name, but he's here. He works at similar school to mine, and the dude has something like Asperger's or something like that. He wears, not the best stuff, but like he's a cool guy. You know, some even call him cute. I like him, but like he obviously had no game in America, right? That's where he's from, right? He gets constant pussy here.
Mm-hmm.
Consistent. And I remember every time a foreigner comes to the school, because, you know, we're training school, so we just go through foreigners like crazy.
Yeah, you guys just eating them up.
Every time a foreigner sees him, and we eventually talk about him, and I tell them, like, oh, yeah, he gets constant pussy. They're like, no. And I go, yes. Like, yes. Uh-huh. It's not hard here. It's not.
It's not difficult.
The standards are really low.
Yeah.
Really, really low.
Like, you can just be like a mildly put together guy and just be like reasonably not a piece of shit. And you'll do really, really well.
Yeah.
You'll do really well.
Yeah.
I also think a lot of the requirements they discard when they're dealing with a foreigner. A lot of the financial requirements, a lot of the
that's true.
Cultural requirements and stuff like that.
Like they don't put a lot of pressures of traditionalism on you. Like, you have to have a house, you have to have a car.
Which helps a lot.
Yeah. Not only because...
Also, I don't speak any Chinese. And I've been with girls who don't speak any English, and that didn't matter to them.
Yeah, I've done that, and I felt... How'd you feel about that?
I didn't give a shit. What I didn't like is when she's sitting across the table from me and we're using Baidu Translate. And on the first date, she translates to me, "I love you," and I'm like, "Ooh!" And then the next thing she translates is, "I want mixed race babies." And I'm like, "This is a tough situation." But I got that.
That is common.
That's an interesting story, though. Let me tell you. Let me get your advice.
Okay.
You know, when I tell this story to my friends, some of them think I'm an idiot, that I should have married that girl, because I met her in a nightclub. Of course. And she's like this super rich girl, and she was like there with these rich guys and stuff.
Was she attractive?
Very. Okay. Super fake, like fake chin, nose, lips. Fake cheeks.
Plastic surgery.
Yeah, giant fake tits, fake everything.
Nice.
And so she started inviting me out for stuff. So the first thing she did was she took me to a steak dinner in a really expensive restaurant in Hong Kong. And she didn't order anything, and she said, "Get anything you want on the menu." This is all through Baidu Translate, by the way. No, we didn't actually speak to each other. And she just sat across from me at the table. She was really young. She's like 22. And she's just wearing this giant... I was like 22 or 23 when I first got here. Okay. And she was wearing this giant mink coat. Like this giant fur coat. And she's
the head still on it.
Yeah, like just ridiculously rich. Drives a Lexus and stuff. She has 2 siblings, and in China, to have multiple siblings means you have to be super connected or super rich.
Yeah.
And she owns her own apartment and owns her own car and stuff, so she's loaded. For Americans, owning a car is not a big deal. Owning a car here in China is outrageous. Yeah. Because of all the taxes they pay. The car is 3 or 4 times more expensive than
Imagine New York
back home.
Times 3. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
And so, when I was banging her, the condom broke.
Ooh.
Yeah, and this was after she was talking about how much she wants mixed race babies.
Oh.
Right? And so then Baidu translates, "I'll take emergency contraceptive." And in the moment, I'm like, okay, I just believed her. And so I banged her twice more without a condom. And the next day, she took me to the metro because I didn't know where I was. I was lost. And so she took me to the metro, and I'm on my way back to Jiangshan. It's a long metro ride. And I'm like 30 minutes into the metro ride, halfway there. And then she messaged me. She's like, "I changed my mind. I'm not taking contraception."
Oh, God. Fuck it.
Yeah. So then we got into a big argument, but she explicitly said in the argument multiple times. So my lead up was like, well, we probably shouldn't have a baby. Like, I don't even speak Chinese. You don't speak English. Like, I don't have any money. Like, I'm not part of this culture. This is all a bad idea. Yeah. And she just countered everything. And she was like, well, what if the kid speaks both languages? She's like, "I'm super rich, so you don't need any money." She's like, "If you don't want to be here, you don't have to. I'll raise the kid by myself. You can fuck off." I was like, well, that's an answer to every one of my points.
Fuck. I've heard someone tell me a similar story.
Yeah.
And so they love kids here.
Yeah.
Like, they love having kids. They don't love kids. Once they have the kid, they just
she ended up taking the medicine. And to make sure, I saw her a couple months later, and she wasn't pregnant. Yeah. And so the moral of the story is, should I have just impregnated the super rich girl and just live in the lap of luxury?
You wouldn't.
Here
do you actually think you would have been happy?
Fuck no. But am I happy now? Also, I should say that she was unbelievable in bed. Fucking animal.
Well, so this is my conspiracy of women. Okay, dating women.
It was insanity.
So women,
ferocious.
Women,
desperation. Like her life depended on it.
Women, we're animals.
Yeah.
So let's just say we're sharks, right?
Mm.
And
look at this fucking hair.
Right. So, and I might have to knock you down a few pegs.
Can't wait.
So just stay with me though.
Get me.
She was a shark, but you were her food. You weren't a shark.
Yeah, certainly.
You were something else.
I wasn't the predator in this situation.
Right. Women don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
As much as there's women CEOs, women who want to be empowered, that's great. But the reality is this: unless they find a guy who's on par with them or greater, and usually the greater is what they actually want. When they're with a guy who's just this, like, I'm not saying like you'll be like that, but it's the practicalness of it. You're in her house. Yeah. You're using her money. Yeah, this is her child.
I would be a house pet.
Right.
Yeah.
She'll never respect you.
That's all right. I don't respect her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I can sit there and play video games all day. I don't give a shit.
Like, you'll literally just be an object. And what's funny is a lot of women would laugh at that because they would see the women are usually the object. But women, not saying you like to be objects, you like dating a shark. The only problem is a lot of women who are sharks, who have that personality, they want to make the shark a bitch, but they can't. So they date food. Yeah. She's probably come across guys who are powerful as her or more.
Certainly.
But wanted them to be like you at that time, right?
Also, Chinese guys want weak women.
Yeah, that's true. It is Asian culture.
They have an intense desire.
I'm not saying women want to be weak, but they definitely want a man.
Yes.
Right? I'm not saying they're looking for a manly man. I'm just saying a man in the sense of they're looking for someone with power. Right? Not necessarily to dominate
and it takes multiple forms, power.
Right. There's tons. Disclaimer. But looking at it that way,
like everyone,
I would never fuck a woman's different. Being with a woman, I would never be with a woman who has more power than me. Not because I wouldn't like it. Maybe I would. But she wouldn't respect me. I would be fucked in the future. Let's be honest. So eventually she would fuck you.
Let me ask you, what form of power is too much power?
All power is bad, I think.
Like, what if she's smarter than you?
Oh, you're talking about dating.
Yeah. Like,
okay.
So, there's lots of different types of power.
Right.
Like, what if she has, like, a 145 IQ and she's a fucking scientist? Is that
the reality is this.
Can you accept
and
that?
This is going to be fucked up.
You're the breadwinner, and you can rape the shit out of her if you want to. So
I can always rape you. Remember that, you smart cunt? No. So you got to look at it this way. Because there are tons of smart women I know who date dumb motherfuckers. Yeah. And they take some pride in that. Yeah. But the reality is this. Some of those guys they date are clever enough to knock them down a peg. Not necessarily outsmart them, but we've totally met people who have outwitted smart people. Yeah. Because there's intelligence and there's wisdom.
And they might have practical information.
Right. There's intelligence and wisdom. Yeah. And usually I'd notice intelligent women, if they're not dating a more intelligent guy or intelligent guy on their standards, they'll date a very wise guy in the sense of he's witty. He knows how to knock you down a peg.
I like to think I'm in that category. Right. I'm not book smart. All right. I don't have a lot of books.
I ain't got the books, but I got the streets.
I don't have a lot of book learning. Right. All right. But I can tell some stories. All right. And so I like.
Yeah, you got the XP.
I like how. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I like having a conventionally intelligent woman who I like her being smarter than me. I think it's a luxury being the air quotes dumb one in the relationship.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So that's usually what I notice with women who gravitate towards this sort of thing we're saying power. Mm-hmm. It's not always about, I'm saying, money, but you were saying this woman had money, and she will always see you as a bitch. She will always see you as the food, and they don't like that. No. She would never be happy, and eventually she'll blame you. Mm-hmm. And maybe somehow in some wicked way, it is your fault. Yeah. If we think hard enough, we can make anything anyone's fault.
That's why I should blame her first.
Right.
Well, also another weird thing about China is that mistresses are super accepted.
Oh, yeah.
And it's I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it. You've been here a year. Yeah. It's all over WeChat all the time.
Yeah.
They never blame the man. the wife always goes after the mistress, it's somehow never the man's responsibility.
Dude, so
if I impregnated the super rich girl, I could just have a bunch of mistresses on the side.
So this
my
is
question for you is, did I make a huge mistake?
So before I get into my story, I'm trying to answer your question. In my point of view, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't do it.
But if you could live like that, I mean, live you, player. You know, like do you. You know, I'm not saying there's one way to live. Mm-hmm. There's multiple ways. I'm trying to figure out how to date correctly. I don't think this whole one-way system a lot of the world does. Not everyone in the world does it, but a lot of the world does this thing, and I don't think it could be it. It could be, but I've been trying different things.
Which thing is that the world does?
So it's usually, one man, one woman try to, but like China, for instance, like you just said, mistresses. Yeah. Technically, it's one man, many women. I've even been in a relationship where it was one woman, many men. So I personally am just trying to figure out what would make me happy in a dating situation. For instance, when you're in a nice relationship, next thing you know, they go, hey, let's fuck this up and get married. You go, fuck.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I think a marriage is a terrible fucking idea.
Yeah, and it's just like...
It's taking a theoretical concept, love, quote-unquote love, which is a bullshit word, by the way, and it's making it into a legal contract.
My thing is, I believe in love. I don't think you should love.
No, I believe that there is something that we could call love, but the word has so much more connected to it than what it should be is a very, very simple understanding that you hate this person less than everyone else.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Everything else is some connected rom-com bullshit.
Right. We have many words for hate, only really one for love. But my thing's like, you want to like the woman you're with. It's fine, I think, if the woman loves you, but like, a lot of guys who love their woman, they don't like them. They don't want to hang out with them. They take a breath of fresh air to come hang out without them. Yeah, and I'm like, why do you want to live that life, man?
Yes.
Why do you want to live a life where you want to escape this woman? And you're like, because I love her.
Well, you're like, those people are often the people who just do what they're meant to do, what they feel like they're supposed to do.
But that's all over the world.
Well, yeah, that's most people. That's most people. Most people are born in a city and never leave it.
Yeah.
They marry the person down the fucking street, they have a bunch of shit kids, and the shit kids never leave either.
Yeah. Next thing they're on like a show like Cheaters, like, why could you cheat on me?
And when you talk to them, they can't stop bitching about their life. And
exactly.
And they don't know what's going on.
Exactly. And my things right now is, I'm not saying I want multiple partners. I've done that. I'm not saying I have it. But I'm just trying to figure out, there must be another way. Because everyone I know that's done this way is miserable.
Yes.
Fucking miserable.
Me too.
There's the few outliers.
No, I don't know one happy married person. Not one.
All I know is the only happy married people I know are the people, two, and they just got married. So I'm giving them time. The clock's ticking, and I'm pretty confident.
Do they have kids yet?
No.
That shit's coming down.
That's what I'm saying.
That house of cards is going to collapse.
And that's another thing. You get married. Let's fuck this even further.
Yeah.
Let's get some kids in this bitch, and fuck them up and let them hate us. I'm like, why do we always do this? My dad was married 4 times.
It's a lot of times.
Yeah. Because he couldn't live in the system, but he did it, if that makes sense. He's like, okay, everything's going well. I have to marry you. Because that's just how he was brought up. But because he's the way he is, he had to end it. But then he meets someone else. Oh, I have to marry you now. But why? Why are we following this programming kind of shit?
Well, to go back, this is one of the other things I was going to say that women don't understand about men. And I think this has changed. This is something that's changed as society has coagulated more in the last couple thousand years. Is that back in the day, it used to just be the one dude in the village fucked all the chicks.
Yeah,
the
most powerful guy. It's like Rams.
Warlord.
Rams do that shit. Yeah.
And all the other dudes got nothing. Yeah, their genes didn't get to property.
Maybe one of them could sneak in.
Sneaky
and fuck
male.
Fuck a lady.
Yeah, maybe it was funny or something.
It's always, he's like, hey, let me fuck you. All right, I'm tired. He's busy fucking some other bitch. There's always a sneaky guy. He's like, let me fuck you. He doesn't rape her. Maybe he did. Actually, they were talking back then. Yeah. Most of us are here because of rape people.
Yeah.
Most of our ancestors raped.
Almost none of us were planned.
Yeah.
But that's something that a lot of women don't know, or they choose not to recognize. That's what I think it is. I think they choose not to recognize the fact that, what percentage would you say? 90% of men are just hopelessly, they have no hope of ever being with the women they want to be with.
Yeah.
90% of men, regardless of culture or country you're in, every single woman they look at doesn't want them. And then the one woman who wants them, they settle for that girl because they have no chance. They have no chance of getting other people.
And you know what? I agree with you so hard. Like, I'm getting hard from this. Not really, but no. I agree with you because you can say yes, women do that, but you can tell the woman who settled. You can tell the woman who settled for the man she's with. They have a look. They have a look on their fucking face. Most Chinese women. But you go like Western worlds, right? You can tell a woman who settled. There's probably still a big percentage, but it's not 90% like men. And the problem is, I think the thing with men is we have a fantasy in our head to start off with of a woman we want, right? And then we see the women that's around us, and then we go, where's the top? Yeah. Because being the monkeys, animals that we are, we want the top.
And you start working your way down.
Yeah, you whittle. What can I get?
A tiny fraction of men have actually been with that dream.
And you know what's fucked up? And I think this is where men are fucked up. And going back to that warlord shit you're talking about, even the men who get the best women, like George Clooney shit, they still cheat on their fucking wife.
Well, the dream just changes. I don't know about you, but I've been with my dream women before, and the dream just changes instantly. Yeah. Like, the moment you have sex with her.
I think this is just a human thing.
I just have a different dream now.
I don't think this is necessarily men. I think this is just a human thing. I think we are just doomed to always be greedful. Yeah. We're doomed to always want more.
Well, I think our genetics tell us to propagate as much as possible.
And that's the problem.
Men want to propagate with as many women
Society
as possible.
Goes against our code.
Well, that's what I mean by, like, society putting us into a marriage. Yeah. Is society trying to force the unsuccessful men...
Do you think that's morally good?
...to be with... I think that morality is very, very tough to pin down. And I think it's very situational, morality. Mm-hmm. I think that... I like the saying that we're all good people as long as we have enough food to eat. Things like that. Yeah. And I often tell that to my students.
I've seen that.
When I try to snap them out of the haze they're in, this nonsense that they're in. I ask them, Wuhan has 15 million people in it. You know, how long would it have to be? If food stopped coming to Wuhan, how long would it be before people are killing each other over a loaf of bread? I'd give it a couple days. I'd give it 4 days, 5 days. How hungry do your children need to get before you kill somebody to feed them? Not very.
I agree. So being from New Orleans, I was in Katrina, you know, and I saw.
Can you swim?
No.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Can you swim now? Did you learn your lesson?
No.
Oh,
yeah,
well,
I know.
Well, next time it floods, you deserve it. You know, Wuhan floods a lot. Maybe you should learn.
Yeah.
My first year here, like 160 people died.
A lot of things is it's like PTSD shit.
Mm-hmm. You live in Honko though, right? They have pretty good infrastructure.
Yeah, I hope so.
My first year here, they had to evacuate thousands of people from Changsha. Like 160 people died from the flooding. Like, I'm talking about YouTube video or WeChat videos of cars being like flooded.
Yeah, no, I've seen videos. Yeah. I mean, not Wuhan, but China.
I lived on the second floor of my apartment at my university in Changsha my first year, and there was a couple storms where there would be like 5 feet of water on the first floor, and my dorm building that I lived in was actually on an elevated part of the campus, so other parts of the campus were completely inundated. Like, it's not cool. And most Chinese people can't swim. Most.
But yeah, you see people become, what we are. And I think morality is part of society. I think society invented morality. So inherently, society will always be on the good side of morality. I mean, just like in China, we see certain people do certain things, and it's good because society says it's good, therefore, because they control morality. I don't think a bunch of fucking naked monkeys are sitting around wondering what's good, what's right. We're just doing what we do.
So do you think marriage is moral?
I think marriage is moral wherever you are. I personally hold, I guess, like most of us, hold a little society in my head, I try to make
I'm the king of that society.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I'm the king of mine. Actually, I'm not. I'm like second VP. Like
I'm also immortal.
That's when you become crazy.
I have
when you become VP.
Powers.
Yeah, you become VP of your own society. the head guy's like some
you're
weird,
the fall guy.
Yeah. But it's like. Yeah, I like most people, you know, nothing special. Like I try to have my own principles and shit. But of course, it's all conditioned and learned from just what I've come across. And I question. Like I said earlier, I always try to assume I'm wrong about everything.
Yeah.
And it's not because I think I'm stupid. It's just like I've just seen and met too many people, read too many things, watched too many fucking YouTube videos or just videos in general of people just so sure of themselves.
Yeah.
So sure of themselves to later find out that they're not only fucking wrong, but they're just morally trash. You know, in the sense of what they were doing. The you know, perfect example, like the priest fucking the child, but he's the morally good, you know, like that kind of shit. So it's just like one of those things where,
super extreme example.
I would like to think if you actually love someone. And love is a torturous thing. It's not all flower petals and kisses.
It's lots of stalking and BDSM.
It's just hate. It's hate, man. Love is hate.
Butt plugs.
I hate you, but I can't live without you. That's prison.
Yeah.
You literally created prison for yourself.
Wasn't there some comedian that said,
I can think of a few.
He's like, fuck. I can't think of it now.
There's
something along the lines of like women, like you can't live without them, but you can't kill them.
Yeah. Oh fuck. That. Now I can't think of that fucking comedian. But no, But tons of people talk about it because we know love sucks. Love sucks.
Yeah.
Like we like to, mostly women, but we like to read the books and watch the movies. You know, of these romantic things of love. But the reality is you're trapped. You can't, I mean, and it's on both sides, I think. Women also, when they actually love, like you see it all the time, men who beat women. Why won't you leave him? Because I love, love him, like that kind of shit.
Well, I think that comes back to the majority of human history where women had to be attracted to the most violent maniac because he was the only one who could protect them from the other men.
Yeah. He's not as bad as the outside world, you know? But the reality is love sucks. And I've fallen for it before. I probably will again. But I'm starting to think maybe you liking is better. I've never fucked my male friends. But I like them, right? But I've never wanted to murder them. People murder because of love.
Yeah.
I've never murdered someone I liked. It's like, oh, I murdered Brandon because he was too cool. Like, Murder's
a weird thing, though. Like, just last year, a guy here in Gwangju cut this guy's head off because he charged him, like, an extra...
Yes!
For Rugamien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw some guy's video of that.
And
Who was there?
He walked around with the head in his hand for a while. That was Wu Mao. So, for everyone listening, what is that? It's like fucking 10 cents or some bullshit like that?
But you can do murder for a lot of reasons.
Cut his head off.
But...
He walked around with it for a while. Then put it in a trash can.
Who murdered someone because they liked them? Not love. You murder for love. You don't murder because you like someone. That's what I'm saying. Is like is like you. It's cool. It's like all right. Moderate. Yeah. It's like let's keep this cool. It's all right. It's when you love, and I think sadly, I don't know if you can tell. I'm a bit of a pessimist. I think
you sound really optimistic.
It's eventually gonna happen. You hang out with someone long enough. Yeah, dude, you hang out with someone long enough, you like them, it will become love. It's like chemistry.
Well, that's
like
why
little
I say
chemistry.
It's a bullshit word. You just hate this person less than everyone else.
Yeah.
Like I can stand your company for a very significant amount of time. You can call that whatever you want. I hate using that stupid fucking word, love.
It's so fucked, man. It's nothing good.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
Could be worse. I'm so glad we're on this happy point.
Yeah, it could be worse. One of my favorite bits is Louis C.K., where he's talking about how a huge percentage of the human race doesn't get to do anything. They're just born and they're like, oh, I'm hungry. And then they die. That's one of the best bits ever. That's so true. So, regardless of what's happening,
perfect example.
You love, you don't love, you have your heart broken, fuck all that shit. Go eat a cheeseburger, smoke a blunt. Like, what do you want?
Yeah, perfect example of respect again, though. CK, But yeah, like, just, like, I've learned hedonism in a sense of it's stupid. Like, it's not smart. Feels great.
Yeah, it's great.
But even then, the feeling numbs.
Yeah, well, that's why you got to kick it up a notch.
That's the problem. It's like, yeah, I did coke. It's not the same. Do crack. Next thing you're doing fucking smack heroin in the fucking...
First of all, everyone has this myth that coke and crack are different chemicals. No. It's the same thing. Yeah. That's why crack is just for poor people.
Well, that's why
you start doing crack when you run out of money to do coke.
Right. But
coke is such an overrated drug. I'm 100% certain that if you sold coke and Adderall right next to each other at 7-Eleven, everyone would come in the first weekend that they have it, and everyone would buy coke, and then on Monday people would buy Adderall.
Not Coke, Pepsi.
and on Monday they'd buy Adderall for the rest of their life. Yeah. Coke is so overrated. Well, it's ridiculous.
It's just like alcohol, there's this whole, it's just the excitement if I get to do something bad, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I think there are a lot of things to like.
Dude, I love, I don't really like the accelerants like Coke and all this. I like acid.
Acid's fucking good.
Acid. I love acid.
After marijuana, it's my favorite.
I'm trying to find DMT.
Well, I think that they legalized it for quote unquote experimental purposes in Canada. You can get it in Canada. You can get like the 5-MeO, the really intense shit. That's the same stuff that's made in your brain. Shit. So maybe you should take a trip to Canada. Fuck. I'm waiting until I'm older to do DMT.
I'm scared. I am scared.
I'm not scared. I'm scared, man. What I found with other hallucinogens is the experience you have is based solely on the experiences you've already had in your life. And I did acid in my like early and mid 20s, and so I didn't. In reflection, I didn't have that much to reflect on during the experience. And then after a few times, you're not doing it for the experience anymore. You're just getting high.
True.
Yeah, which I have no problem with that. As long as you're responsible about it.
Hedonism.
Yeah, hedonism. Yeah, goes back to that. At a certain point, you are just floating around. We used to take it and just float around in a pool on like a hot summer day and listen to some music, and you feel the vibrations in the water. It's great. But I'd like to be a lot older before I do DMT, like 40, 50. Okay. Just to have more to think about.
I did peyote.
Yeah, how was that?
And a griffin picked me up.
Was that your spirit animal? You found your spirit animal?
Well, so I am actually Native American, and
me too.
I went to a reservation. Not my reservation. I've been to my reservation.
Like a hotel reservation.
Yes.
Sorry.
Where my grandfather was born, but I met this guy, and I went to a Canadian reservation.
Okay.
And the Canadian reservation is so much better than the American ones, by the way. But so I went to this Canadian reservation, and they had like the whole tent thing set up, but it's not
TV.
as...
I think that's what they call it.
No, it was tent. Like, this was a tent. This wasn't a TV. Like, no, like, a lot of the stuff can be as stereotypical as you think, and a lot of it's just really chill. Like, it's not as... They're people, too.
It's like a Mongolian yurt.
Yeah.
You're like, is this traditional? They're like, close enough.
But,
my king-size bed doesn't fit in the teepee, so I had to buy a yurt.
I didn't do the sorry, but I forgot the name. There's a name for it, but there's a spiritual walkthrough. Yeah. I didn't do the traditional one. I was just with this guy who was trying to be a shaman.
Did you smoke it or did you actually eat the cactus?
We ate it.
That's a lot, right? You have to eat a lot of it?
We had a bucket. We ate it. And
peyote cactus.
And I'm so glad I did with him because he did a lot, and it's just nice to have someone like that. That's what I want to do for DMT. That's another thing. I don't want to just do DMT. I want to do it with someone.
Yeah, you always have to have a guide.
Yeah. So, but he helped me through. And yeah, like it was like this griffin came, picked me up, and I felt like it's that weird experience. The only way I can describe it is like, you ever been like on top of a building? Yeah. We're in China. There's shit tons of them. You're on top of a building, and then when you ever like look over, and almost you can almost experience the idea of falling.
Yes.
It's like, it was like that. It was like this constant feeling like I was going to fall any second. You know, this great. I'm like high up and I'm like looking at the trees and I feel like I could fall any second, you know? And then suddenly I'm like in a room, you know, but then I'm like back in the tent. But I felt like I was in a room, if that makes sense. Like I wasn't actually, it wasn't like a movie where like now I'm in a room, you know? It was more like I felt like I was in a room, but I was still in the tent. I knew I was still in the tent. But it was like, I can't explain it, but I was talking, I think I was talking to my dad. I'm not quite sure. But it was, I just really want to do DMT. You know? Like, I just that's all the PA did to me, was I wanted to DMT.
Make you want to do DMT.
Yeah. Like,
so why specifically DMT? So,
just everything I've heard.
Yeah. I want to go meet those beings made of light.
Yeah. I heard the stories.
Yeah.
I've seen the videos. Again.
Have you ever been in a isolation tank?
No.
I can't stop thinking about it. I listen to Joe Rogan and I can't stop thinking about isolation. I've been thinking about it for 10 years now, God damn it.
Do you think, is it possible? I don't think it is. You can't do DMT.
Of course you could. Why wouldn't you?
Would you drown? Because don't you like knock out?
Well, no. It sounds like, according to Joe Rogan, it's only like 6 inches of water. It's only like 8 inches of water or something like that.
I don't know. My stupid ass would flip over. Like, you know, like
immediately flip over. Like aggressively try to drown yourself.
I shouldn't be alive, you know, like I am Satan, you know, like some weird shit. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just a paranoid guy. That's what I learned in acid.
Yeah, paranoia is dangerous.
Acid taught me how paranoid I really am.
Yeah.
You know, and how I'm such an angry guy. You know, like I've gotten a lot better at controlling my anger, but I remember acid, and the peyote kind of showed me too. It's just like, it just showed me like you know, just past reflection, just the tantrums I've had, and it just makes you go, ugh, like, you know, you just feel sick at yourself.
Yes,
God,
yes.
I'm such a fucking child.
I think hallucinogens are important in that way because they really make you look at yourself honestly.
Yeah, it knocks you down a peg. You need to.
Yeah. So, quite brutally, and some people can't handle that, and that's when you hear stories of people trying to kill themselves.
Yeah, no, my actual first experience with acid was bad. It was bad. It was out of a challenge. It wasn't because I wanted to do it. It was more of a challenge. Yeah. And I knew this. It was in high school, and I knew this drug dealer, and he went to my school, but then he dropped out. We would hang out a lot. He was Korean, by the way. People, he's not black, you know, racist. But anyway,
very important information.
Yeah, he's Korean.
Everyone knows Koreans have certain experiences on LSD,
right? But he had all types of drugs, and I would normally just go over there and just like obviously smoke weed, do some pills. And I had that personality where like I can do whatever I want, blah 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 blah. I've done cold medicine, some stupid shit. Yeah, like some stupid
Robo-trip.
Yeah, Robitussin, man.
Disgusting.
Yeah. Oh God, I do pain medication. It was bad. It was really bad. So I remember he was like, he had this little, almost like, you know those ink droplet vials?
Vial.
Yeah, the vial was like that big. I remember, and he's like, I got acid. Of course, I've heard of acid. I've seen movies, right? But in my head, I think I'm hot shit. I'm like, whatever. You know? He's like, I bet you can't do a spoonful of it. And so he pulls out the little thing and drops some liquid acid on this spoon.
It wasn't actually a spoonful, was it?
No, it was a spoonful. But I didn't do the whole spoon because I took some of it and I didn't take all of it because something told me don't.
No,
I can't explain it. I literally, this sounds like bullshit, but something told me don't do the whole spoon. Mm-hmm. And it was my gut, I don't know. And I was like, all right. He's like, what the fuck? And I can't remember the lead up because I know it didn't happen right away. But I remember when it happened, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So these little blue men who I painted shit tons of times. They haunted my dreams ever since. These little blue men scared the fuck out of me. That's all I remember.
You saw them in 3 dimensions.
Yeah, I can't explain how I saw them, if that makes sense. Like, they were flat, but they weren't. And then, you know, like, I knew I was imagining, but they felt like they were real. It was weird. It's almost like the idea of, like, the only way I can explain is almost like seeing what a ghost would actually be like.
Okay.
They're not here, but they're here.
Yeah.
Like, what's the word? I know the word, but I can't say it. I'm fucking up right now. Ethereal. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
It was like that. And it just fucked with my head. And I haven't been right since. Like, it's like, it's just like, I still have flashbacks to that first time I've done acid.
Yes. Yeah, acid definitely comes with flashbacks. That comes with the territory. I gotta rock a piss. We can continue this in a moment.
All right. Technically doesn't exist. It was just the class was more like you slowly realize psychologists only abnormal where you are. You know, like it's crazy to say, but like what is schizophrenia in America isn't schizophrenia in India.
You know? But they have a word for it though, or is it
no?
It's a different disorder.
They'll still probably say schizophrenia, but like what qualifies you for schizophrenia might be different.
Okay.
And on one hand, you might think some people go, "Duh." On the other hand, it's kind of crazy. You're like, "No, crazy's crazy, right?"
I don't know.
Yeah, so that's all that class was. You just realize that, fuck, like, technically we're all crazy, and technically none of us are crazy.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We're back from intermission. I don't remember what we were talking about before, but we took a little break. So yeah, why don't you flex your psychology degree and tell us something about the meaning of human existence?
All I've learned from my psychology degree is how depressing it is to be human.
Yeah, I feel like you've probably learned substantially more from stripping than you did from studying psychology. So why don't you tell us something you learned from stripping?
They didn't teach me taxes. Stripping taught me taxes, money, how to deal with money, how to deal with people, how to deal with assholes. You know, school doesn't teach you that. Yeah, when I was stripping, all the stuff I say about women right now, I learned from stripping.
Yeah.
I've learned from women. Like lesbians I used to date. Yes, I said lesbians. Because it's weird, like, you meet a lot of women who say they're lesbians, but sometimes they'll fall in love with a guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And they'll still be like, no, I'm a lesbian, I just love you. Right?
Yeah.
So I learned from lesbians. I've learned from women who come to strip clubs and women strippers that they know that the women's game is shit. They know that women need to step their game up. But it's also because men have such low standards.
Yeah.
You know?
Men certainly do.
Yeah. Like, we'll date a bum woman. A woman ain't got shit. She ain't got no money, no nothing. She doesn't bring nothing to the table, you know? And we'll date her.
Yeah,
fuck her.
she's just attractive.
Yeah. Women have more standards. That same bum woman can look at you and go like, no, I don't date guys without cars. And you're like, what the fuck? You don't have a car. Like, you know, it's just... But I learned that from stripping because, in a weird way, stripping is the topsy-turvy world. Because women get paid way more than men. And it probably will always be that way. And no one's arguing that. Yeah. No one's fighting for the men's rights and stripping, you know?
That's why I think we need a lottery where we just kill 95% of the men. All right? We need a population of 3 billion women and, let's say, 50 million men. That's the ideal world. And then male strippers get paid a lot, I bet.
Just so few dicks.
Yes, there might just be one in your whole city.
Dick is only valuable if there's less of it.
Yeah.
Pussy's valuable. Doesn't matter how much pussy there is in the world.
Yeah, you know what? Dick still might not be valuable. there might be one guy left in the whole world still.
It's like, I won't fuck you. Oh, god damn it.
Still worth nothing.
Oh, god damn it. Yeah, I mean, like, I laughed once. This one girl was like, I'm going celibate. And I was like, only a woman could go celibate. Like, I choose not to fuck. And like, I'm like, there are lots of men who are celibate but don't choose to be celibate.
Incel, right?
Yeah.
Incel. Involuntary celibate.
Yeah, like even in prison, men turn gay because that's how much they need to fuck. You know, women go to prison, probably never have to deal with any of that shit because a lot of the women there probably don't even want to do anything.
Will men and women ever have any communication with each other once we have sex robots?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I was thinking, will we all become gay, technically? Not in the sense... I only say gay in the sense, like, will men only hang out with men and women only hang out with women at that point? Because you have something you can fuck. you have something that can do. Because when I think of sex robots, I'm not just thinking of something that lies there and takes it. That's what a lot of
I'm
women
talking about
think.
like human surrogate.
Yeah, like literally, it's literally a human that you can fuck.
Like the robot would be able to have a kid if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's why I always have to clarify when I say that. Women just think like, that's what fleshlights are for. I'm like, listen, you dumb hole. Okay? I'm talking about you, but you don't talk. That's all it is. Or have emotions. And that's fucked up thing. But that's essentially what sex robots are being made for.
Also, once they can have kids, imagine billionaires just buying 10,000 of them and having 10,000 kids every 9 months. I would do that.
What? 10,000 kids every 9 months?
Yeah, why not? Like Genghis Khan shit. You know? And just name every single one of them Brian.
If you exist, 5% of you could be related to this guy. Like...
I don't see the point. I mean, one kid in 9 months is such a... Come on. You gotta have at least a couple at once. Ideally, I would be like a frog, you know? I have like 1,000 kids. Like I have batches of them.
Imagine being a kid like that. Having like 1,000 brothers and sisters.
Yeah, you'd never be lonely. It'd be great. It'd be a great life.
But like, that's like one of those things, like, only nobles would do shit like this. But it's like, you know, you'll probably never really talk to your dad.
Yeah. It's okay.
That's weird. It's so weird, man. It's like, I'm just here.
Hey, man, would you rather be Genghis Khan's son or some random dude?
I don't know. That's that weird nobility shit. I don't know. I can't really comprehend sometimes. It's like, I come from a long line of kings and
what
queens.
about when people, like, live forever? So imagine some billionaire who basically lives forever. Like, he's not physically immortal. He just will never get sick. He'll never get old, you know, these things.
Yeah.
And he's just really careful so he never gets hit by a bus. And he's got 10,000 sex robots that are always pregnant with his children. Oh. And then 1,000 years later, he's got, like, his own nation. And he's editing their genes to make sure they never have any kind of ancestral mutations.
You're getting deep in this shit.
Yeah.
You thought about this.
And then we have, like, clans where this royal family, because of their money...
You just want to be Thanos.
Yeah.
I just want to make a planet. I just want to have my own people.
Yeah, I just want to make a planet
and be
so
their
I can
god.
kill it.
And be their god. And then, like an ant farm, just shake it once in a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just want to be God.
I do. That would be great. That'd be great. Like, if the devil appeared right now, I'd make any deal that he proposed. If it meant I could be God for a long, long time.
I think if the devil could make someone God, it would probably be him.
Well, not God. Not like God in terms of the devil God.
Like God,
like
God,
the
God.
dichotomy. I mean God like having
like
superpower.
God. Oh, yeah, like demigod. Like Hercules.
Yeah, or more than Hercules.
Hercules.
Like Goku.
Oh, Goku's practically God. Like, I get mad at the power Goku has.
Yeah, I know.
Like, you can tell that's an anime made by Chinese people. Like, you can tell the difference between certain animes. And Dragon Ball Z has Chinese written all over it.
It was definitely made by Japanese people.
No, Dragon Ball Z is made by Chinese people.
Wait, it's a Japanese cartoon.
No, it's Chinese. Okay, I'm gonna stop. We gotta figure this out.
Yeah, I don't have a VPN, so you can figure that out.
I don't have a VPN either, but
oh, Bing always has the answers.
Oh yeah.
A few days ago, I binged Mohawk. I was looking for a picture of a Mohawk. Gave me error 404. Couldn't find the server. Then I went to Baidu, and Baidu'd Mohawk, and the picture never loaded. He finished cutting my hair before the picture loaded. So there's some Chinese internet for you.
Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it's Toei Animation and Funimation.
Well, I mean,
those are Japanese companies.
Yeah, it could be Japanese, but I'm talking about the creator.
Oh,
never mind. I'm stupid.
He's super fucking Japanese,
yeah,
right?
He's Japanese. He's Japanese as fuck.
Yeah.
His name's his first name's Akira.
Akira Toriyama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
How would you? What's up?
I was just talking about my All right, never mind.
Did you know the Power Rangers were Russian?
I love the Power Rangers.
They're part of the KGB.
I could have sworn. Never mind. Oh wait, no, I know where I got that from. I think Goku's based off a Chinese person.
Which one?
I think I want to say Bruce Lee.
Okay.
I want to say Bruce Lee.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's got influence from Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee's influenced everybody that punches and kicks.
Yeah, I want to say Bruce. I don't know. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, I was talking my ass. Sorry. Dragon Ball G's Japanese.
That's all right.
I'm sure a lot of people are like, no! Sorry. All right.
Akira Toriyama, bro. Learn the name. All right? Goddamn.
All I know about the guy, and I didn't know his name, but all I knew about the guy is he's so old now, he like forgets his own characters.
Well, like imagine creating something like this. Your fans know it better than you do, ironically. That happens all the time. That happens with Game of Thrones. It happens with World of Warcraft, Star Wars, everything.
Yeah.
It gets too big for the creators because they're seeing it from the inside, and so they can't follow it.
Right. They can't look at every little detail notched together. I can understand that.
Did you watch the most recent Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
It's shit, right? Garbage fire.
Yeah, I mean, the last season was not good.
No.
So
that's an understatement.
I mean, it was like last season was like, oh wait, what's fantasy? What's fantasy? World of Warcraft's fantasy, and then they just that's how I felt. It was like World of Warcraft.
Did you ever play WoW?
Yeah.
You gonna play Classic when it comes out in August?
I don't know.
It'd be tough here. The internet connection it really struggles to play WoW here, especially if you play on North American server.
Can you play WoW in China?
You can, yeah, and you can play without a VPN, and you can connect to the North American server, but you have like a 300 latency, like a 300 ping, and you're lucky if you have that. Like that's best case scenario. Most of the time, you're like running into a wall, like you cast a spell and nothing happens, and then like 30 seconds go by and then you disconnect.
Shit, man.
But I'm happy I'll be back in America, so I can drop right back into a sophomore year of high school playing WoW 15 hours a day.
Oh, don't even get me started.
You played?
Yeah, I played all the way up the Cataclysm.
Yeah, I quit in Wrath of the Lich King, and then
like I didn't even finish Cataclysm. I just was tired of WoW. I just didn't care anymore.
I played for like 3 weeks of Cataclysm while I was stuck on a couch after a knee surgery.
Fuck.
Yeah. So yeah, but Classic. I'm excited.
I was more of a Star Wars Galaxy guy.
A lot of people played that. Yeah, a lot of people transitioned from that to Classic.
And then like many people, I was pissed off when they made SWTOR and then just stopped Galaxies.
I couldn't play Knights of the Old Republic.
The games or the MMO?
Oh, I didn't know there was an MMO. Yeah, I'm talking about the single player RPGs.
I love the single players.
Dude, I have a YouTube channel doing gaming content, and I don't know, I think I got like 20 episodes into KOTOR, and I couldn't do it anymore. It was so fucking boring. And
I love Star Wars. Not anymore, because now it's gone to the fucking wolves.
Yeah, I like the galaxy. I like the lore and all that stuff.
Yeah, the lore is great.
But that game with the turn-based / real-time somehow totally fucks up both the genres, battle system, and it was all like there was a paper-thin veneer of freedom, but really it was extremely linear.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle it. At some point, I was just like, okay, I can't do this anymore.
Maybe this is childhood, my nostalgia kicking
Definitely.
in.
I didn't play when I was a child, so I'm jumping in.
I loved it. I was obsessed with it. The first, the second, and the extension that came out. I was obsessed with the game. And then when the MMO came out, I was like, okay, all right. They got rid of Galaxies, and then I was like, okay, this game has to be good if they got rid of it. I'm not saying Galaxy still had a huge fan base. Mm-hmm. It was very one of those niche, like very you gotta know things. But they just copied WoW. They just said, let's just make Star Wars WoW.
Most people did, yeah.
It was fucking horrible. Because at least in Galaxies, I don't know if you knew this. You play Galaxies?
No, I never played it. You
could fly anywhere you wanted. You just get a ship and just fly, right? They made a rail shooter in SWTOR. Just like in the fucking first person. I mean, I don't know. It's just some stuff that you almost expected they never gave you. But yeah, I mean, what you got? There's a lot of shit Star Wars has done that's just. I used to be obsessed with it. Obsessed with Star Wars.
Well, do you know that the new Star Wars movies are being made by the guys who fucked up Game of Thrones?
No, I literally after Last Jedi, I stopped all Star Wars following.
Okay.
I stopped everything.
D.B. Weiss and David Benioff are making the new Star Wars movies. That's why they quit Game of Thrones. That's why it was such a shit show in the end.
Fuck.
Because they just stepped away. They didn't care anymore. They didn't want to do it.
Last Jedi made me so mad, and it's not because what everyone usually says. My thing was this. I liked where they were going.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the idea of Luke was finding out something that technically the game you don't like, KOTOR, the second game, touched upon this with their villain Kreia. Spoiler alert. But there's this villain in KOTOR 2. I don't know if you finished it.
Nope. Everyone kept telling me that it gets good after a couple hours. It gets good after a couple hours. I played like 8 hours of it, maybe 10 hours, and I was like, fuck, this game is awful.
No, dude. It's
Couldn't
good. It goes underneath another layer of Star Wars that I love. It's the Star Wars that I think about when I think Star Wars. And it's this idea of, it gets meta. It's like, Kreia realized something. She realized that the Force sucks. Think about something for a second. It's like God. It's literally, she talks about God when she talks about the Force. Is, okay, there's the good Force, the Jedi's, whatever. There's the bad Force, the Sith. Both of them are like, no, we're the right ones. No, we're the, they're both arguing who's actually right. She's like, why are we doing this? Why are we constantly fighting each other? She's like, we've had so many wars.
Yeah.
All over, for what?
So what does she say? Can we all be friends?
No, she does the opposite. She goes, I'm just going to kill the Force, and then we'll be free. So she essentially wants to kill God. She kills God, humanity is free. Because she says, I mean, it's probably wrong, which is what probably makes her the villain of the whole story, right? But she sees it as, if I kill the Force, we're free. But it's mostly, she's just had a lot of wrongdoings in her life and is just mad and vengeful, right? I saw that in Luke in The Last Jedi. So much shit has happened to him. And he realized, wait a minute, why does this keep happening? War after war. I mean, fuck, the movie series is called Star Wars. This keeps happening. Why? Why do we keep fighting towards this linear goal? And I was like, yes, in the movie theaters. I'm like, yes, Luke has figured it out. We have to kill God. And what happens? Oh, never mind. JK. Jedis are cool. I'm fine with Rey, her being the lead. She's a female. I don't give a fuck about that. I don't like the fact that they threw Finn under the bus. Again, white woman's great. Black guy, fuck him, And they made this random Asian lady trying to appeal to the Chinese audience.
God damn it, I can't stand that shit.
They made this random Asian lady fall in love with him.
Just
a random character, too.
Every single movie has to include something for the Chinese audience. So
going like,
so they're going to see the movie.
Look at that.
Look, China, so great, 5,000 years. Do you know?
Leo.
I started pointing it out to my mom, actually, because she loves disaster movies, so I took her to see that The Rock movie where he's in the building.
Oh, in Hong Kong?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, I pointed out before we went there, I was like, so this movie takes place in China, it's got lots of Chinese actors. Something I want you to recognize. I want you to recognize how much they play up China. I want you to recognize how often they say something negative about other countries, especially Japan. I want you to recognize these things as we watch the movie. She's like, okay. And there's a scene in the movie, I couldn't have planned this better. I didn't know this was going to happen. There's a scene in the movie where these main characters come together in like a police truck. And there's like all these computers and stuff around them, all these like smart people on the computers. And they're like swapping information. And it eventually gets to the point where they come to an epiphany, but they don't have the last piece of information. Like, do you know? No, do you know? Oh, who can we ask? And they all turn to the computer. And then in the theater, they have a close-in shot where the entire screen is just a desktop, and it goes to Baidu.com. And they Baidu their question. It's like some bullshit, like, whatever, like how tall is this building or some shit like that. Dude, and I forget exactly what they say, but there is a whole scene where they take a big dig at the Japanese as well. And so we walked out of the theater, and I was like, my mom was like, oh my god, I can't believe I never would have noticed that if you didn't point it out. Yeah.
Same shit happened in the new Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna spoil anything, but there's a Chinese actress.
Yeah.
And of course, the moment the Chinese people saw it, they were like, "Oh, they just point out at the time, there she is," And yeah, be proud of your people, whatever the fuck. But it was just like she was so like just dissing the West. She's just like, "You Westerners, that's such a Western concept. Slaying dragons. Us Easterners. You see, we lived with the dragons.
No one can see you right now, but he's rubbing his face.
we lived with the dragons. We were one with them. Godzilla can be one with humanity. You stupid white man." And it's literally what the scene was. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my fucking God, coming from a lady whose people killed their culture and now wants to revive it all
Dude,
of a sudden.
it's so insulting, man. It's so transparent. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's almost social justice warrior of me to say, but I'm insulted by proximity.
I am triggered.
Yeah, seriously.
Triggered.
I can't stand it. The nationalism, the blind nationalism here is extraordinary.
I mean, the same thing with American war movies.
But it's so much more intense here. Like, when I see Tom Hanks killing Germans, it's Tom Hanks killing Germans. It's not America killing Germans.
America!
Yeah.
Well, because in America...
It's not America.
Well, in America, we're individual.
Yeah. And that collective thing here is so alien to us, and I don't like it. It feels so dangerous. It feels like such a bad idea.
That's culture clash, like culture clash, I guess.
But I mean, fucking bad things happen in history when there's collectives.
Yeah, fucking bullshit, fuck cunts.
When you have identity politics and this kind of thing.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, just fucking escape. That's what I'm gonna do. Get the fuck out of here. I feel like a man.
Become part of the hive.
I feel like Andy Dufresne crawling through the pipe right now. I'm going to be leaving in a couple of weeks. The moment I don't even feel safe when I'm on the airplane. You know that? What? That's how paranoid I am about China.
Oh shit!
I don't even feel safe when I'm on the airplane. I don't feel safe until I step out of the like little tunnel from the airplane and I step into the airport in America.
And just run.
I like fall to my knees and I'm like, America! I'm back! I made it!
I can't do that if some cop will arrest me. He's got a gun! Shoots me.
Dude, the TSA are always the first people I see, and I always feel like they're going to arrest me for acting so strange. I'm always like smiling at them. I want to start a conversation. And of course, they're having a shit day. And they're generally shit people. And so I'm like, hey, how you doing? What's up? Having a good day? And they're like, fuck you. Keep walking.
I depends on my mood. I try to make them happy or I try to make their day worse.
I try to be invisible. I try to have no impact on them at all. That's always my plan. Unless they single you out. If they single you out like, you've been derp for a random screening or whatever, I always get that shit.
Yeah, I'm a brown skinned guy with earrings. So.
Yeah. What do the earrings do? Is that famous? Is that like a part of racial stigma?
He's a rebel.
Oh.
He's a rebel. He wants to.
Well, if you're already brown and you're a rebel, is that like two negatives make a positive?
You don't want to be brown anywhere. Fucking Chinese people hate brown people.
Oh, the Chinese people are intensely racist. But if it's any consolation, they hate themselves.
Yeah, they want to be white.
Yeah, more than anyone else.
They bleach their fucking skin.
There's no one they hate more than a Laowai except other Chinese people. So.
I mean, like, what is that? What's that cream they use? It's like, there's a lot. But there's this one name brand they love.
I don't know. But the amount of makeup that some Chinese girls wear is shocking. It's, like, their face is white like a ghost, and then like, it ends at their neck.
Oh, yeah, that neck. Yeah, and then this.
And it's like, it looks horrific. It looks like a joke.
One lady told me I look dirty. Like, my skin just looked like.
No matter how good their English is, they never have the word pale or tan. Everything is either black or white. There's nothing in between.
No, I remember once I was explaining to my students the idea of sunbathing. Mm-hmm. And they're like, why would you...
Inconceivable to them.
Why would you... I was like, to get tan. Why would you... They're like, but why would you want to get tan? I don't know if a lot of people out there know, but like when Chinese women... Or some Chinese men, but when Chinese women go to the fucking beach, they cover themselves like the Muslim women, like head to toe.
Yeah, they basically have it's called a face kini. It's like a balaclava that you wear at the beach.
Ugh. I mean,
and they always have umbrellas on sunny days. Today's a sunny day. All the Chinese girls have umbrellas, protect them from the sun.
Yeah, God forbid they get tan. God forbid.
It just comes
Or,
from. It just comes from their 5,000 years. Do you know?
Confucian.
Yeah, it comes from 5,000 years.
Confucius forbid. Yeah, 5,000 years of history.
Do you know? Do you know? 5,000 years.
Yeah, 5,000 years.
Do you know? Do you know?
Just bring up Egypt. Egypt's older. They'd be like, well, technically,
oh god,
we evolved from another species. I hate that shit. A lot of them believe they're they're not human. They're like
this is what you should tell your students.
What?
Last year, an article was published that traced the DNA of pandas to Europe, and I said that to my students, and they were fucking furious. They're like, "That's bullshit. That's Western propaganda."
Yeah, Western propaganda. No, it's literally China versus the world. Yeah. If anyone says anything negative to China, it doesn't matter where in the world, they go, Western propaganda.
Well, have you been sick yet in China? Because if you get sick, you're going to have to argue for quote-unquote Western medicine.
Yeah.
Because they're going to want to give you fucking...
Yeah, herbs. Yeah. Herbal tea.
Crush this ginger root and rub it on your taint for 7 months. And if your arm is still broken, come back.
This one lady goes, I'm vomiting. And I'm at the front of the hospital. They haven't, done the scans. They're not scans, but, they always put fucking IV in you, right? Yep. She hasn't done that shit yet. But I'm in the front. I'm vomiting. It's getting to the point where, there's nothing left in my stomach. I'm just heaving, dry heaves. Mm-hmm. And she just goes, wrap your feet in a towel. I was like, what? She's like, wrap your feet in a towel. It'll make you feel better. And you know what makes me mad? Sometimes when I do get my VPN actually working and I'm scrolling through Instagram or some shit, I hate this slow infection of Eastern propaganda of oh, this is Eastern tea. They've done this for 5,000 years. This works, stop with all your medication, drink this tea instead.
Have they told you about your chi energy yet?
No, I haven't heard that.
You'll get that. So, since I'm going back and I don't have insurance in America, I wanted to get a bunch of stuff done here. So I got a bunch of blood tests done and whatnot. I got a hormone panel done so I could see my testosterone, estrogen, and cholesterol and all that stuff. So apparently I have high estrogen and low testosterone. Yeah. So their testosterone scale is from 240 to 820, and I was 305, and their estrogen scale is from 20 to 30. I was 31. And so, and they said everything else was normal, but your estrogen's really high and your testosterone's really low. I'm like, so are you going to give me testosterone for it and estrogen blockers? Medicine, real medicine? And he was like, well, that's not the problem. And verbatim, he said, and he had good English, the doctor, he was like, you have low chi energy and your kidneys are cold. So then he tried to sell me 1,400 RMB worth of TCM. Now, my university reimburses medical cost. So after an argument with him, I was basically telling him, don't fucking waste my time with this garbage. Just if I need this medicine, just fucking give it to me.
Right.
But don't waste my time with little packets of dirt, because that's what he gave me. And my school reimbursed it, otherwise I'd never fucking pay that shit out of pocket for that garbage. But that's what they do here. They will outright refuse to give you quote-unquote Western medicine, real medicine. He will refuse to give you that until you've already paid for the TCM. Knowing the TCM does nothing. He's a witch doctor. These people are fucking charlatans.
Charlatan.
But the doctor only gets paid. The doctor gets paid based on commission.
Oh yeah, well it's like anywhere else in the world. Mm-hmm. The medicine companies, whether the medicine works or not, they don't care as long as they pay.
Yeah, but in other countries it works.
Because we have something called lawyers. We can sue you.
It's if I have low testosterone, or let's say I have whatever, if I have some kind of chemical deficiency or vitamin deficiency, if I have low fucking vitamin D. Right. In America, they'd be like, okay, go to CVS and buy vitamin D pills and just take a vitamin D pill. Or eat these foods or do these things to increase your vitamin D. Here in China, they'd be like, okay, you're going to do this incredibly expensive and lengthy TCM process. And then when that fails, they don't say that, but they say if it fails, but they know when it fails, then come back and then we'll give you real shit that'll actually fix your problem.
The only similar thing is... coming here, I realized how cheap it was for getting dentist shit done.
Oh, yeah.
So I was on it because I have a lot of problems in my back teeth. So I went to the dentist. Luckily, my job kind of covers dental stuff. And I'm just going in. They're fucking doing root canals, all kind of shit. And after the first root canal was done, I was like, all right, because, soon the pain medicine they gave me was going to wear off, right? I'm like, so do I get the medicine here, the prescription, what happens? And they go, what medicine? I go, pain medication. Like, you just did a root, this is going to hurt, They're like, oh no, go here and get this. And they gave me a paper, and I thought, like, maybe it's just another word for, it's in Chinese. I couldn't, this was when I first got here. My Chinese was nothing. And I go to the pharmacy, and I look, and I take the whole Baidu picture translate. I take a picture of the box with the medicine, and it was like herbal something.
Yeah, it was like herbal tea, and you're supposed to drink it boiling hot with your root canal.
So yeah, I'm trying to talk to this lady, like, and so she just thinks I'm a stupid foreigner. I don't know how medicine works, so she shows me.
Yeah, of course you are. Because your country only has 200 years history, not 5,000.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah. Thank you. But yeah, she shows me, and I go, "Is this tea?" I'm like, "I need pills.
I need fucking medicine, real medicine."
And I could feel the thing wearing off, and I was like, I don't deal well with pain. I just get more mad, so I'm just like, just give me my fucking pills, lady. Yeah. I thought she wasn't following the prescription, but she's showing the paper like, this is what it said. And I'm looking at the paper, I'm looking at the thing, and the letters match up. I'm like, fuck, they got me this stupid shit. So I just got what I could get, and I told her, I literally went back to the dentist right after that. I was like, I need pain meds. They're like, no. They literally said no. Yeah. They go, if you can bear it, you'll be fine. And I go, no! Give me my fucking pain medication. And the guy just goes, just get ibuprofen. I'm like, are you fucking serious? I go there. I first asked for aspirin. Because I guess I was always in the habit of buying aspirin back home. Because of hangovers and pain and stuff. The lady grabs the aspirin, and then she stops. I'm at the cash register. I'm ready to buy the aspirin. She goes, no. And I'm like, why? She goes, oh, you might take too much. And I look at her and I go, I know how to take aspirin. I've taken it my whole life. I've taken it when I was a kid. I know how to take aspirin. She's like, no, you'll take too much and die. You're a stupid foreigner. You don't know how to take medicine.
I read an article this morning that was praising the greatness of China, naturally. And it was going on comparing the statistics of graduates between America and China. And one of the things it covered was how many doctors are graduating in China versus
even though they don't believe
even though they don't have any fucking concept of medicine. Yeah. So
well, they have 5,000 years of medicine.
Oh, do you know?
Yeah.
So I get a little bit angry, and then I end up laughing when I read articles like that, because they can believe their greatness as much as they want. At the end of the day, their doctors literally don't believe in science. How many people in this country don't believe in germ theory? I'm not joking when I say that.
They don't wash their fucking hands.
They don't believe washing your hands has any effect.
I've seen people. I go to the gym constantly. Yes. I go to the gym five times out of the week. Every time I go to the gym in the locker room, I see these butt-naked Chinese guys walking around, taking shits, don't wash their hands.
Those are the same people who are cooking your food. They pick their nose, they cough into their hand, they blow their nose into their hand and wipe it on their pants, and they cook your food.
And again...
And everybody gets sick. Everybody gets sick every winter.
Disclaimer. But what people have to realize is everyone keeps seeing third world country China, like third world villages. Mm-hmm. This country has shit tons of money, shit tons of power. There's a country, even our country, is held by the balls of this country. Okay? They are having major influences. Like we're talking about the movies. They're influencing the movies now. Soon, it'll just be them. I mean, maybe. I don't know. This is just me sounding paranoid right now. But the reality is, you have these people who don't believe pretty much in any Western science. No. And as much as you might hate...
You shouldn't even say Western. It's just science. They don't believe in science.
Yeah. The word logic, the actual word logic, in Chinese, what was it? Logica or something?
I don't know. Probably something like that.
Their word for logic is so similar to the Western word for logic. Because logic comes from the Latin word, I forgot that word. But the point is they never really had that part of the science world. They never had
the scientific method.
Right. They never had that science. Of course, China had science. They invented gunpowder. They invented paper. They invented tons of shit. Okay, they are part of science in a builder's sense.
Well, this is very controversial to say, but the science.
How racist is this?
Well, we can have that conversation
on a
later.
scale of 1 to Bill Cosby.
No, this is like anyway.
Wait, did I say Bill Cosby?
Yeah.
Well, 1 to Steve Harvey. Sorry.
Wait, Steve Harvey's racist?
Sure.
Wait,
I don't know.
Anyway, the China that's always extolled for its greatness is not the China today.
Yes, that's what I was.
These are different nations.
Thank you. You saved me.
These are not the same cultures or people.
Those people are gone.
They're gone. They've been gone.
Yeah.
These people don't have the same ideas, cultures, beliefs, values, traditions. Nothing. That old period China is a ghost.
Yes.
That haunts this country.
Yes. That's why they want to take Taiwan. I know a lot of people know about the Taiwan situation. I'm not going to get too big into it because, for one, I'm not a political analyst and I get scared talking about it.
And you'll disappear talking about stuff like that here.
So, actually, you know what?
Yeah, we probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
Let's go
Never mind.
Let's go back to talking about women.
Women!
Yeah, women's a much safer subject.
Women. Fuck them.
Anyway, yeah, let's just close off. Medicine, it's the most common argument I've ever had in China is whether or not soap has any effect. Whether or not washing your hands with soap has any effect. Every single public bathroom here, every bathroom doesn't have soap. The Chinese people shit, and then they just pour dirty sink water onto the hand. Water that's so dirty it will make you violently, maybe lethally sick if you drink it. Because it's coming right out of the Chongjiang, the river, the extremely polluted river.
Yeah, they don't filter.
And it comes right onto their already dirty hands, this dirty water, and then they just flick the water off and they go about their day. And that is clean to them. Like, you can't, you can argue until you're blue in the face, you cannot convince them that soap makes their hands cleaner. Oh, God, it's so frustrating. It is brutal.
But one thing I realized when I try to calm myself down about this is the society, in the sense of technology, grew very quickly.
Yes.
Money, cars, buildings, it all grew quickly. The people are still growing.
Mm-hmm. That's the optimistic side of this.
Yeah, that's me trying to be an optimist.
Everybody who tries to be optimist always says the same thing. They say things will change.
Hopefully.
The younger generations will be better people.
Yeah.
Maybe. Hopefully.
As they call me, Black Shadow, which is their word for nigger.
Hey, it could be worse.
They
could just call you the N-word.
Yeah. Well, I had one girl I dated here. She got so pissed at me. She just goes, "That's why you're a stupid nigger." I was like, "Well, you caught me." I thought I fooled you. No, yeah, it is what it is. So,
yeah.
I mean,
it's a wild country. I think that's why most of us are here, because even if your day is totally shit, it's still better than your day being like immemorable. You know what I mean?
Complaining about Starbucks coffee.
Yeah,
they got my name wrong again.
Yeah, from day to day, my life in America is so fucking boring.
It's routine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's average.
And so, have you ever had anybody sneeze right in your face in this country yet?
I have students that do that shit. They just go like cough right in your fucking face. I'm like, are you serious?
Again, germ
theory. Full-grown adults
yeah.
just sneeze. There's no such thing as bless you here.
And they just splatter your face.
Oh my god! And like they think they get sick from the cold.
Yes,
they go, "Oh, I feel cold. Turn off the AC."
The temperature is what they think.
Let me sweat.
But then the windows are open in the wintertime because they want quote unquote fresh
air. Yes, thank you.
Oh my god.
I'll be in the school.
And you look outside, and some days the air is literally dark yellow.
Yes.
Like when they give an index number. My first year here, I got here in September, and in December, on Christmas Day, it was like 560. Shit. Like, you literally can't see more than 20 feet, and it's like dark yellow haze.
Fuck.
And I was looking out the window of this Irish pub where we were all meeting for like a Christmas celebration. I'm drinking a Guinness. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? This place is the apocalypse. It looks like fucking Fallout.
I mean, I think Victoria, England was probably just as bad.
No, but everyone says that. What you don't appreciate when people say that is that what the contents of the smoke is. People
True.
When you look at Victoria, England in the 1800s,
like coal.
It's just coal and wood smoke.
And wood, yeah.
And human beings have been breathing smoke for our entire history since we invented fire. It's different when what you're breathing is mostly
and probably dead prostitutes.
Oh yeah, lots of dead prostitutes. Yeah, naturally. And
opium smoke. 5,000 years of history.
Yeah. Do you know?
Do you know?
But it's different when you look out the window and that yellow haze is like coming from plastic factories and shit. And rubber factories, all this petroleum processing, all that stuff that didn't exist back then.
Fucking probably dead babies.
Oh god, so many aborted girls.
Dude, I've heard so many conspiracies from like I'm sorry. I don't know if I should talk about this. Never mind.
Yeah, probably not.
No, I'm not.
We'll wait till it comes. Wait till we cut the mic. Wait until we're both in America.
Yeah. Anyway, as I'm waving the American flag around. Yeah, no, never mind. That's what's so fucked up is you find out so many interesting things about this place, but you can't talk about it.
Yeah. Which
explains why no one knows anything about China.
Yeah.
I've realized that now. I'm here, I'm learning stuff, and I go, fuck, I can't tell anyone this until I leave.
Yeah, and you know you're not coming back.
Until I leave. Like, yeah. I'm not coming back, because they'll fuck you if they know you're coming back.
There's a foreigner just last month who got arrested in Tibet just by sending a derogatory text message about China. The police were waiting at his hotel, or no, it was a girl, I think, and arrested and deported just for sending a negative text message about Tibet.
Yeah, like the Dolce & Gabbana guy.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, fuck the Chinese. And everyone's like, yeah, fuck him. He's racist. I go, do you realize, like, this
how many times a day I hear fuck America in this country?
But also, it's like, it was a private message. This dude, this is an old dude, right? I don't know how old he is. I know he's, relatively, like, at least, 50, 60? Yeah.
I can't wait until I'm old enough to say some wild shit.
But, like, of course he's going to say some fucked up racist stuff. Why are we all pretending like we don't have relatives that do that shit?
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, like, you tolerate it because it's your relative, but at the same time, let's stop.
I tolerate it because I agree with them, but yeah.
But why are we holding all the other people at higher standards, but not the people that are part of the family? You know?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
He's just an old dude with a lot of power.
And at the end of the day, words are words. I mean, once he starts burning crosses, then we can care.
Yeah. I mean, I've had this conversation a lot of times, and again, I could be completely wrong. That's why I flip-flop on it. But, like, what's your stance on hate speech?
I think it ends when you incite violence.
I agree.
I think that's it.
But the problem is, the argument is, on the other side of the fence, is that the hate speech will become violent.
Yeah, but then you fall into these like word games where who's deciding what's hate speech. It's like the idea that we should have a test and you should only be able to vote if you can pass a test about the person you're voting for. That's inconceivable because who's making the test? We can never trust the person making the test.
Right.
And so when we're trying to define what is hate speech that will lead to violence, obviously the person who's making the definition is going to have a horse in the race and we can't trust that person.
Right. And because on one hand, I'm all for hate speech.
Yeah.
Because I've had people like that girl I was seeing call me a stupid nigger to my face. And I didn't give two shits. Just left her. She didn't hurt me. Physically.
I mean, you cried later though, right?
I went in the shower, cried a little bit, but whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm fine with that because the freedom is I can say what I say.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna say the word I could say about her because that could get me deported. But
yeah. So fast.
Yeah, so fast.
You're lucky if you get deported. That's the best case scenario. I get to go back to my great country. But also it allows garbage people to be known, to make themselves known through their own bad ideas.
That is true.
I think we need to allow people to publicize their bad ideas so that we can say, okay, that guy's got bad ideas.
Yes, and that's one of the
But when you make it illegal, you just drive them all underground. It's not like they're not thinking these things anyway.
That's one of the many great things. I know you're a white man and probably voted for Trump.
White as pigeon shit, didn't vote at all.
Yeah, and
not
a vote, it's a vote for him.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Good.
No,
I wanted Gary Johnson.
But one of the great things I love about having Trump is people are just open about their ideas again. Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, I don't like immigrants. I don't like brown-skinned people. Good. Thank you for telling me. Huh. One of the great things about China is how openly racist the Chinese people are.
There's an honesty to it. And I didn't ever think about this until I befriended this black dude from California while I was in Montana. And Montana was the only time in my life where I ever met a white racist. That's no bullshit. Almost every racist I've ever met in my entire life was a black person who hates white people. And then after leaving New Jersey and leaving D.C. and finally going to Montana, I finally found the first ever in my life white racist. And I was at parties where he would meet a black person, and he was incredibly honest and polite about it. He's like, oh yeah, I just don't like black people. And the black guy's like, why? He's like, no, I don't know, I just don't like them. And the black guy's like, oh, okay, well, thank you for telling me. And he's like, yeah, no problem. and then I talked to this guy from California. I was like, how do you feel about that? Like, is it weird when people say, I don't like black people too? And he said, I don't remember his exact words. He was basically saying it's refreshing because he meets people in California who he knows are racist, but they'll never say it because they'll be like excommunicated. They'll be shunned by the community in California. Right. And so they have to pretend they like him, even though he knows that they're racist. And so he's like, it's actually refreshing when they can just say, yeah, I'm a racist. Yeah.
I mean, I've thought about this fuck tons. I know I was talking about I'm Native American, but my dad is half, so that makes me some mutt, whatever. So you can say I'm not, whatever. That's up to you. But
what?
Point is,
I didn't follow that.
Well, no, because so I don't really cling to any. I'm American. I'm a mixture of many things, right? So, like most black people, no real generational black person, like someone whose their family's been in America for generations, black person in America, is African. You know?
Yeah, I got you.
Like, they're mixed with everything. They probably more white in them than African. They don't know. They could be Native American, could be freaking Cuban. They don't know. Mm-hmm. And then that's the problem with being black in America. And I grew up like that. You just, but in New Orleans, we came up with a race, which is Creole. And Creole is different almost in every country you go.
What does that mean?
Creole is a race. So like in Haiti, they speak Creole. They call themselves Creole people. Okay. Right? But the reality is this. We're all just dark-skinned people of variety. Some are darker than others, some are lighter than others. Mm-hmm. And it's just colonizers took us.
Is there a cutoff point where you can't be too white?
And that's what's interesting about being black. There are some black, like I'm really light-skinned because my mom's light-skinned. She's Brazilian. But there are guys lighter than me who still have a few, like, African, I guess you could say, features. Mm-hmm. They're black, right? There's that one actor, I forgot his name, but he's a black actor, but he has blue eyes. He's black. So is it like it has to be shown, And I had an interesting conversation with an older black gentleman about this, because for a while, I was just against the idea of calling myself anything. Like, I don't want to be black. I don't want to be anything. I'm nothing. I'm just a human being. That whole stupid shit, right? Okay. But he said, at the end of the day, they're going to see you as they see you. Right? Yeah. Perfect example is, my grandma told me, everybody, and I think a comedian also says, Paul Mooney, I think. My grandma said this to me once, too. She says, everybody wants to be a nigga, but nobody wants to be a nigga. Right? Everyone steals, or I don't want to say steals and all kinds of stuff from black culture.
Sounds like some Paul Mooney, like vague wisdom.
Yeah, vague. Yeah,
says a lot of shit like that.
Yeah, he says a lot of stuff, and then suddenly he like backtracks or some shit. But the point I'm trying to make is that even if I don't consider myself black, and I realize it's coming to China, I'm no longer black since I've come to China. I'm whatever they think I am, right?
Okay.
Like, I'm no longer black. When I was in America, I was black. They go, you're black. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm whatever. No, you look black. You're black. You're black. You know? I come to China, now I'm what? Indian, I'm Pakistani, some shit, you know? So you're literally whatever people see you as, right? You can say whatever you are live long day, but depending on the person you talk to, they'll either go, okay, that's what you are, or they'll go, no, fuck you. This is what you look like. This is what you are. You know? You're just a runaway Pakistani guy who lives in China. Like, you know, like...
So where does that go to? Like, what do you gain from that knowledge, if that's how you believe it?
Let's say...
What's the takeaway from that?
All I'm saying is that in America especially, and white people do this too, you'd be like, oh, I'm half Scottish, half Irish, a portion Puerto Rican, you know, like a mix. In America, we do this a lot. We're all these mixtures. We're all these things. We're international people, and we're proud of it, even though some of us don't like darker skinned people than others, right? But I realized going around the world, you just are what people say you are, and you can get mad and make them say what you are, but what is there to be gained from me making some Chinese guy say, no, I'm fucking black because some white guy in America told me I was black?
Oh, I think I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why am I fighting for these titles?
Yeah.
Titles that were given to me. I didn't ask for them.
Yeah.
I didn't ask to be a nigga. Someone called me that. And now I'm claiming it. I'm like, why am I doing this?
So what title do you use, or do you not use the title still?
I just don't really think about it.
Okay.
I mean, do you sit around going like, white, white, white? God, I'm so
Every
white.
single day.
I love being white.
I usually,
white.
I do it in the mirror while jerking off.
Yeah, like white, white. Oh, God, I'm so fucking white. Shit.
How can I become whiter?
I think the only people that probably actually think about race, not even race, just like actual skin complexion, is like Asian people. They want to be white so bad. Yeah. But like, I don't think about like, oh, I'm black. I love being black. No, I'm reminded of it every waking moment, you know? So if you get your VPN on, you get your black brothers and sisters.
Just because I break into your house and I whisper black while you're sleeping.
No, what I hate is like...
I'm the monster under your bed.
What I hate is we started this conversation, if I remember correctly, about the collective and race and stuff like that. Black people have to be a collective. Mm-hmm. I can't...
Do they have to be, though?
No, they don't. But because black people in America were treated the way they were, they felt the only way they can have power, and everyone wants power. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not just a black thing. Everyone wants power.
Yes.
The only way we've shown a practical way of getting power is when we all work together as a collective. So some shitty black guy does something and God knows where, I have to stand with him. Because, again, with Bill Cosby, I have to question his the crime because he's a historical black figure. If he was just a historical white man, would I have stand so strongly behind him?
Of course not. But white people don't stand behind white people.
Because you're allowed to be individuals. You don't have to.
But, like, objectively, I feel like that's a better system because it
of course.
It allows us to say that shitty person's that shitty person. We're not connected.
But listen.
So wouldn't you try to reject the collective?
You can call it whatever you want. You can call it white privilege, whatever the fuck you want. But when you go somewhere, you're white, right? Yeah. They're not going to assume maybe, unless you're in China, because they always want to know everything. But they're not going to think, oh, maybe German, French, blah, 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 this, blah, blah. They're not going to question you. You just are. Okay. They see me, they go, what the fuck are you? You are, what are you? And I tell them, I go, no, you're this because that's what I think you are. So it's one of those things where the black people are almost made to be a collective. We're not allowed to be individual. I'm not allowed, when I'm in America, to just be me sometimes. I want to just be me. I want to just see a shitty person and go, you're shitty, fuck you. But because he's black or some other thing, I have to talk about the collective. Just like we were talking about with women.
Okay.
If I just see a shitty gold-digging whore woman, if I make fun of her or call her a gold-digging whore, suddenly I'm talking about all women.
I understand what you mean, yeah. The way people perceive what you're saying is they perceive that you're talking about the collective and not the
Yes! Like, if I talk about a shitty Chinese guy, suddenly I get deported because I'm talking about China.
Yeah. And that comes back to the disclaimer. If you want to talk about a black guy, you have to say, not all black guys.
Not all black people.
Yeah.
Not all women.
Not all women. Not all Chinese.
Fuck them.
But you never say that about white people.
There you go. That's just stuff.
How do you do that? You just reject the collective?
I think
disconnect from the hive mind?
I think it's hard because on one hand, I can kind of understand Chinese people because growing up in a black family, it's constantly. And I also grew up Catholic, which is odd because mostly you think black people think Baptist, but I grew up in New Orleans. Catholicism is the number one religion. But anyway,
I don't know the difference between Catholicism and Protestant or anything like that. Baptist. Once I got old enough to argue about going to church, I didn't have to anymore. My mom's religious. But the moment I started looking around, I was like, everything's fucking made of gold in here, and we're giving these pieces of shit money. My mom's like, oh, okay, you should probably stay home.
This isn't for you. You go home.
Yeah, you're not gonna. This isn't gonna get better.
No, I was all in. I was all in. Before Katrina, I was an altar boy. I went to church 5 times out of the week. I wanted to be a priest. I was studying to be a priest. It was a big deal for me. But I understand.
And then God sent the flood.
And then God was like, fuck you, people who believe in me. You
should have built a boat, man. You didn't read into the... You didn't read the text.
I never reading Noah.
You gotta read between the lines.
And like the candles are flickering on and on.
The lesson is always have a boat and learn how to swim.
Yeah. Learn how to swim, you piece of shit. It always goes back to that. Yeah. Learn how to swim, you piece of shit. I was all in it. So when I see Chinese people talk in a hive mind's perspective, I kind of get it because when you're black, you just have to stand up for just people in the tribe, so to speak, and you're not allowed to just be you. And most of the black people who tried so hard, like you have people like Prince, who are so unique and eclectic, and yet he still, clings to the black community, but because he tried to be an individual like himself, he's called, let's face it, he was called weird for a long time.
He was weird, though.
He was weird.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, he had to fight to be an individual.
Okay. So you're saying he had to be super weird to be called weird and not be called black?
Yeah. He was just Prince. He wasn't a black musician. Same thing with Jimi Hendrix. He wasn't just a black guitarist. He was Jimi Hendrix. A lot of black people have to fight hard to be different. Chris Rock said a perfect joke. He said he's famous. He got a nice house, right? Of course, I'm not doing this joke I'm paraphrasing. But he basically says that he has this great house. He lives right next to, I think, the Jay-Z and like maybe Aretha Franklin. These great black entertainers. Yeah. Rapper,
I know what joke you're talking about, yeah. Go on.
And then suddenly, the white guy lives next to him is just a dentist.
Yeah.
His name's like Fred or some shit. He's not the best dentist. He's not even like an acclaimed dentist. He's just a dentist who lives next to all these famous black people. So it's like you have to fight hard to be just you when you're in that sense. But that's not just black people. I'm realizing not Chinese people, like all over the world where there's a hive mind, you have to fight. Same thing in the church. If you want to be different from all the other priests, you gotta be amazing. You can't just be a priest.
What if Chris Rock wanted to be a dentist named Fred?
Then he wouldn't have $1 million house like Fred did, the white dentist.
What, the black dentist makes less money?
Maybe
is
not
there,
get as many
is there
clients.
A
like him, maybe not get as many clients. I don't know.
Is there a stereotype about black dentists?
Yeah, you're about to go in.
I don't even
know. My work. You're like, wait, he's black? Oh,
this is a tough joke. Why would you not want to go to a black dentist office? I don't get it.
I don't know. I just.
Yeah. Well, Yeah,
not all black dentists, though.
Oh yeah, not all.
Not all
black
dentists. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them are great.
Yeah.
Fred.
You know the best dentists, Chinese. They got 5,000 years of.
5,000. Do you know?
Do you know about the 5,000?
So I went to the dentist as well just recently last month. I got 3 cavities done.
Oh shit.
Same thing. I had to argue to get pain medication during the cavities. So what? She literally was she had the drill like on the way to my mouth, and I had to like put my hand in front of my, like physically block the drill. And I was like, whoa, aren't you gonna numb my mouth? She's like, let's begin, and if it hurts, then I'll give you medicine. I was like, you fucking crazy? Give me medicine now. And she's like, well, you know, most Chinese don't take medicine. I'm like, I couldn't
Do I look Chinese to you?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm like, most Chinese? Would you please sneeze into my mouth while you're in there drilling? Can you sneeze into the open wound, please? If you want me to be like most Chinese, that's what I need. So it was a big argument, and then she finally gave it to me. And in America, it's like a tiny syringe, and it's just like poke, and they just put like a droplet of medicine in your mouth, and it's numb. She had a machine that was hooked to the air compressor, and she injected on the inside and the outside of my teeth on both sides. So 4 injections, and each injection was 30 seconds long, maybe more. It was so much that my gums swole up from the amount of liquid that she was injecting. Not only did my gums swell up from the amount of liquid she was injecting, but I ended up getting abscesses in my mouth from that. And I sent her a picture of my mouth like pussing and bleeding and shit. She's like, oh, that's normal. It'll go away in a few weeks. I'm like, fuck you. Fuck you and your voodoo bullshit. God damn it. I don't give a fuck if you graduate 100,000 Chinese dentists. Alright? Means nothing. It means nothing.
Fuck, man. Shit. It's better than India, though.
Hey, I'd rather India control the world than China.
I mean, they're dentists.
Oh, well, what do they have? Hammers and chisels?
No, it's just like... Well, no,
I can't imagine that they don't have...
Northern India's good.
I can't imagine that they have the same like voodoo bullshit. I feel like if I went to India, it would just be pure medicine. It would be medicine.
Yeah.
They don't have like...
I'm just talking about like just like you saying the pus and shit. Like a lot of the Indian stuff's like not clean.
Yeah. Well, that I don't put that. I make fun of it a lot, but I don't put that much stock in things being unclean. Cleanliness will come. However, if you don't believe in germ theory, then cleanliness will never come. There's a difference between having a dirty doctor's office
you got me there.
And not believing that having a clean doctor's office has any effect.
Right.
So if I go to an Indian doctor's office and it's dirty, I'm not thinking it's because they don't think there's any difference. I'm thinking, oh, it's just dirty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wouldn't sneeze into my mouth. I'm 100% sure of that.
Just like continue. Just don't even say anything.
Yeah. Just grind it in deeper. But yeah, same thing. I didn't get any pain medication. Sucked dick for like 2 weeks. Couldn't eat anything.
I need one more thing done in my tooth, but I just don't want to because that was a horrible. Because I had to get root canal and what you call it? What is it when they pull tooth out?
Like a removal or something like that.
Yeah, like a.
So how did they remove it? Did they use a forceps or did they use hammer and chisel? No, I'm not joking.
No, they literally just cut me open and pulled it out. So
my first year here,
it was a wisdom tooth.
Okay.
They cut it open, pulled it out.
My first year here, I befriended an Egyptian guy who was here studying dentistry, and I got sick and I had to go to the hospital, and he took me to the hospital because he had really good Chinese and he was explaining stuff. I had to get tested for gonorrhea. Turns out I didn't have gonorrhea, but the test for gonorrhea is fucking horrible. I'll tell you about that later if you want to hear a horror story.
Oh shit!
But he was explaining to me about the things that seem barbaric in China that are actually way better. And apparently, according to him, it's better to use a hammer and chisel to take a tooth out than forceps. It causes less damage to the gums. And, he seemed like he knew what he was talking about. But I was like...
I don't understand, huh?
His explanation of it was like, when you use forceps and you grab the tooth and yank it out, like they do in a lot of Western countries, it causes damage to the surrounding tissue and the gums and all that stuff. But when you use a chisel, it just like crumbles the tooth and the tooth just comes out. Still seems pretty ruthless.
I mean, he could be right. I don't know.
I don't like the idea of laying down like you are right now and seeing somebody aiming a chisel at my mouth
and then being like, that looks good, and then rearing back with a hammer.
Yeah.
Like, and then you feel a chisel move a little bit at the last second.
No! And they go like, oh, sometimes you lose other teeth.
Yeah, you got plenty.
You got enough teeth. You can still chew noodles.
Yeah. I think the only requirement for a good dentist is I want a dentist that still has all their teeth. You know, that's like my doctor. If my doctor is morbidly obese, I need a new doctor. Or if he's like a smoker.
Well, most doctors aren't usually in the best condition. You ever notice?
Well, it depends how old they are. Young doctors are pretty fit usually.
Usually, because they're still trying to get laid.
Yeah. Old doctors.
The old doctors got the money. They don't need to get like.
You don't need game when you have a doctor. I feel like when you're a doctor, you can.
No, young doctors.
Easily.
Young doctors have tons of debt. They don't have that much money. When they start
well,
off.
No, but a doctor is really
true,
prestigious.
But still, they still need some game. You know, women go up to a woman.
Women's?
I got 3 women's. You go up to them. I got 3 degrees. Do you have a house?
I got.
Fuck you.
I got
I'm
3
a fucking
degrees.
Doctor.
What? Biochemistry? That's pathetic.
He's like, wait, you pay off your car, you don't own it? Get the fuck out.
You fucking pleb.
Let me get back to work at McDonald's. Fuck you.
Oh yeah, so you want to know how they test for gonorrhea?
Oh god.
So I'll give the Chinese experience.
Yeah.
All right. And halfway through the test, I smacked the nurse's hands away, and I ran out into the hallway where literally holding up my pants, just covering my dick, where the Egyptian guy was, and I explained to them what they're trying to do, and he goes, and he bursts out laughing. He goes, "Yeah, that's normal. Get back in there." So I go into this nurse's office, and there's like a paper screen, you know, and on the other side of the screen there's a box, and I get up on top of the box, and there's 2 nurses in there, and one of them walks out of the room and comes back with 3 more nurses because I guess I need an audience for this shit. And so I pull my pants down, and one of the nurses grabs my cock with one hand, and the other hand she's holding, imagine like the graphite in a pencil, like that thickness, and it's metal. And it's blunt on both ends, and the end that she's holding is just metal, but the other end, it looks like rock candy. You know rock candy that you get at like a fair where it's like the jagged crystals?
Yeah.
That's what it looks like on the end of this piece of metal. And she takes my cock in her hand, and my cock is like eye level with her because I'm standing up on a box and she's a short Chinese girl. And there's 4 other Chinese nurses laughing hysterically. And she shoves this piece of metal up into my dick hole with this like jagged, it felt like broken glass on the end of it. God. And then she squeezes my dick around the broken thing and then twists it inside of my cock. Twists it again. It was excruciating. And then she yanks it out.
Oh, God.
And a few hours later, they're like, congratulations, you don't have gonorrhea. You don't have it. But then my dick hurt for a month afterwards.
Oh, God.
Oh, God damn it. So I guess the moral of that story is...
Came for hours,
oh, God. It was great. I went back the next day. That's why my dick hurt for a month.
I came for hours. I get gonorrhea on the regular... Oh, God, that's horrible.
The moral of the story is...
Don't get gonorrhea.
If you have an itchy dick, maybe it's better than getting checked.
Is it like that everywhere?
He said that was normal. He said that's a normal gonorrhea check. They have to go into your dick hole.
Fucking damn it.
And they have to get like skin out of it.
Oh, God damn it.
They go in there and they rip up the
And of course they don't give
urethra.
you anything, right?
No, of course not. This is China.
God damn it. Fuck.
Those nurses thought it was hilarious.
Shit.
It was brutal.
God damn it. Fuck me.
I was lucky I had that Egyptian guy there as well. When we went in there, I told the doctor, I was like, my dick is itchy. And so the Egyptian guy is like, sounds like gonorrhea, you should get checked for that. And the doctor type, and prints out like the thing that I'm supposed to take, and like this is the test. And it's like 11 items long. And like we take like one step in the direction of the door, and the Egyptian guy's reading the piece of paper. He's like, "Wow, this is bullshit." And he turns back around, and I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, he's having you check for every single STD that exists. He's like, I'm gonna get checked for like AIDS and hepatitis and everything else, like fucking HPV and all that shit. And he argues with the doctor for like 10 minutes about how I definitely don't have AIDS. Like I don't need to take a 1,000 quai test to prove I don't have AIDS. I just need the gonorrhea test.
He has AIDS.
Yeah, the doctor's like, we can't know for sure.
He doesn't have AIDS.
He looks pretty AIDSy to me.
He looks like an AIDSy guy. I mean, look at that face. That's an AIDS face.
Yeah, exactly. Look at that motherfucker.
God, that gonorrhea thing's gonna haunt me.
Yeah, man. It's not good. It's not fun.
Shit. Fuck. You know what blows my mind? This is a Western thing. And it's not moral or...
Yeah.
It's just the fact that they get circumcised so late here.
Wait, when did they get circumcised in China? I thought they didn't do circumcision.
They do it, but like, they'll do it to their kids when the kid's like fucking 8 or 10.
Dude, circumcision in general is fucked up.
It is.
Cutting dicks?
Yeah.
I'm not about that.
Yeah, there's a whole religion based around it.
Yeah, I don't like the idea.
Judaism, you heard that one?
Which one's that?
Yeah. What do we got? What was that? 2,000 years? 2,000 years history?
Do you know?
2,000
years, that's nothing.
That's nothing.
That's nothing.
I can sleep past it.
It's like a long weekend.
No, like, you know the guy who cuts the dick for the kid in the Judaism thing, whatever they call it? I forgot what it's called.
Do you know how many kids get herpes and die of herpes? Because the traditional priests will bite the foreskin off?
Yeah, I was about to say, that's what they do. That's what they did, bite the fucking skin off.
Jesus.
My thing is this. That's a job.
That's beyond horrific.
But that's a job. The dude signed up for that. Like, yeah, I want to cut little kids' dicks.
How much it pays?
But like...
What is it got good benefits?
I don't know.
Does it get dental?
We do dental. Oh, wow. Now you have my attention. You have my curiosity, gentlemen.
But they only cover the black dentist. Not Fred.
Not Fred. The black dentist. I heard they can't even afford a mansion.
His dentist is, for some reason, or his dentist office is, for some reason, just awful. I don't know why.
Takes a picture of a white dentist office and a black dentist office. Looks the exact same. He's like, okay, yeah, it looks good. And then they add a white dentist, black dentist. It's like, oh, this one's horrible.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Look how unclean it is.
Throws it away. Get away from me. Go.
Burn it. This white one, this one is safe. It is clean. It is good. You know, though, there are some ads, though, that are totally trying to sell you, you know, sometimes you'll be in the elevator somewhere in China, and they try to sell you, like, some sort of weird thing. Like, Western blah, blah, blah. And then random up some white guy just smiling. Not even say anything, just like, hello.
I know guys in the city who get those jobs.
Really?
Yeah, where they'll be selling, like, a cup of coffee or something like that, and it'll be, like, one day of acting work. And they'll just have to wear a suit. They'll get like 800,000 kwai or something like that. And they'll just like hold up a cup of coffee and smile like, and take a couple pictures and then they leave. Yeah. You know what would be a good sitcom?
What?
You get a white guy and a black guy, and the white guy does blackface and the black guy does whiteface, and they're dentists. And they just confuse
you just
all
don't want to let
they confuse all the patients.
We're brothers. We're happy.
Shenanigans would ensue.
Shenanigans.
So many.
Let me tell you.
Yeah. Don't get anything shoved up your cock. It's not fun. It wasn't my best day in China.
I wouldn't think.
No.
Granted, so you know, I watch a lot of porn.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's one of the genres you're into?
No. So I was watching. There's this whole porn series. Like this guy interviews crack whores.
Does he fuck him at the
same
time?
Yeah, he fucks him at the usually depending on the video.
But you're there for the interview, right?
Yeah, of course. It's like Playboy. I read for the articles.
Yeah.
It's horrible. I'm even mentioning I to see a video about the guy fucking crack whores, but because they're crack whores. Well, they're not like some pretty model. Like
they're not coke whores, they're crack whores.
Yeah, they're not like some pretty model. Like, oh, I've never done this before. No, it's like a lady. She's missing some teeth. She's like, yeah, I'll do $5. I'll suck your dick. $5, suck your dick. And he interviews them, and they just tell him these wild stories. And there's this one. There's one crack whore. And
I bet this
is before the sex. The interview was first. I'm sure for those people who squander the net for nice porn videos like I do, have come across this. This lady starts talking about how this one guy was into like real mutilation, like he women fucking him up kind of shit. And this one time, she's fucked him before or something. She was, it's crack whore language. It's like, why not? Like that kind of shit. But like, just her describing it in such detail, I knew it must have happened. She was saying the guy would get hard, and then she would grab the dick, kind of like that nice Chinese nurse, and she got a razor blade and split the tip of his dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, split the tip of his dick, and that's what he was into, and then he would fuck her. He would fuck her.
With a split dick.
With a split tip dick.
Like a lizard, like down the middle split? Could like he?
No. It wouldn't make the dick hole bigger. It was the opposite way.
Mm-hmm. So it was like a cross.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Odin. No. Fucking.
Well,
yeah,
that's what they do when they say if you take Viagra and they're like, go to the hospital if you have an erection for more than blah blah blah. Do you know why they say that? Because your blood starts to coagulate and clot, and after like 4 or 5 hours, it's like the consistency of grape jelly.
Oh my
god! And it can no longer go back up through your dick, and so when you go to the hospital, imagine a dick looking right at you, right? they cut the head of the dick horizontally, and to drain the fluid. God damn it! And if you wait even longer, if it's like 8 or 10 hours, they gotta cut it down the shaft and drain all that coagulated blood out of there. They gotta squeeze it out like a Go-Gurt. All right, I think that's a good place. To end it.
All right.
Thank you very much, Daniel, for coming on. I hope we get you on again in the future. This is a great fucking talk.
This made me horny.
Oh yeah. You ever had your shit pushed?
What?
All right, everybody. Take care.
Adios.
Protect your prison pockets. And see you in the next one. Been another episode of Bullshit in Video Games. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff down below. Take care. Bye-bye.
How am I gonna find man I'm supposed to be? Man I am